Hey, everybody, welcome to BizTix TV. This is the place for tips, tools, strategies, everything you need to take the hassle out of your hustle so that you can build a profitable business that's fun to run. Now, today is Friday. That means the tech divas are gathering together to talk about tech, media, and social media this week. And Dr. Tachi is already here. We will be soon joined by Terry Johnson online from New York City. So sit back, relax, get your tech questions out, and let's get started with a little bit of tech history. So, um, I, okay, here we go. Some stuff I didn't know. November 16th, 1982, Steve Jobs writes a letter to Macintosh Labs asking for the rights to use Macintosh as the brand name of Apple's still in development computer.
Oh,
Macintosh, yeah, I say me too. Macintosh Labs makes high-end stereo equipment, and while Jeff Raskin, creator of the Macintosh project, intentionally spelled the name with a letter A to differentiate Apple's computer from Macintosh with a IN, studio or audio products, Apple was denied a trademark because the name was phonetically identical. Since the Macintosh team had become attached to the name, Steve Jobs wrote the letter hoping to get permission or a licensing arrangement. Gordon Gow, president of Macintosh Labs, visited Apple headquarters for a product demonstration after receiving the letter. However, Macintosh lawyers advised Gow to reject the request. It wasn't until March of 1983 that Apple secured a license for the name Macintosh. In 1986, Apple wholly acquired the trademark for an undisclosed substantial amount of money.
wow. Well, they've made that back tenfold, so no loss, no loss for them.
And apparently it was no loss because have you heard of the Macintosh audio?
Not at all. And then again, that was several years ago. So you're talking about like 1986 when they acquired the full rights to it.
Yeah.
So I was too little to care anyway. So
Right. But this shows you that you can go ask, people to if you need the name for your company. At least he did write a letter and ask.
yes, because nowadays I don't think companies are that nice.
Mm-mm. I'm like, oh wow, that was pretty good. Okay, so let's go back to 1904, November 16th. John Ambrose Fleming applies for a U.S. patent on what he calls the oscillation valve, the first example of the vacuum tube. Vacuum tubes would form the basis of electronic technology for nearly 50 years into the development of the transistor. Fleming's invention has been described as one of the most important developments in the history of electronics. I was like, oh, very nice.
Wow. Yeah, very interesting.
Very. Does anybody know when the computer mouse was patented?
Ooh, the computer mouse was patented. I don't, but I can take a guess.
Okay.
Um, uh, so patented doesn't mean that it was put into full use. They just had the patent for it. Um,
Right.
so I want to say sometime in the 80s they had the patent for it.
Okay, so November 17, 1970, Douglas
Oh.
Engelbert receives the U.S. patent 3,541,541 for his XY position indicator for a display system, more commonly known as the computer mouse.
Interesting.
Right? The name was interesting too. I guess you didn't know what to call it because of it's something you just created it on the X and the Y, but okay. Ingeberg called his device a mouse because the cord looked like a tail. The mouse was first prototyped in 1964, but wasn't demoed until 1968 and was not included with the commercial computer until the Xerox 8010 Star Information System in 1981. Apple first bought the mouse to a personal computer with the Lisa in 1983. However, the mouse did not become ubiquitous until after 1984 when Apple's Macintosh popularized the device.
Ish.
Right? And we just think a mouse is a mouse, like, okay, we just.
Well, I remember when, I started using computers when I was young, and they did not have mice. So if you were needing to go someplace on the screen, it was the arrow keys or nothing.
Right. And you would go arrow up, over to the left. Like,
Right. And that was well, Macintosh was around. So, but that was even pre the Macintosh and Mosaic and Windows and all of that. So you just had DOS. So there was nothing to scroll to anyway, even if you did have a mouse.
Right. You wasn't seeing, like now we go everywhere with a mouse. Trackpad, your finger becomes the mouse now. It's just a lot. It's good though.
Yeah, no, and the interesting thing is I have an iMac, but it's really old. My iMac is from 2010. So I don't even bother with it anymore. So I use my MacBook Pro because of live streaming and everything, and it needs to be portable. So because of that, I haven't used a mouse since I stopped using my iMac. I only use, the trackpad. I know all the shortcut finger strokes and all of that to make it quicker. If I had to use a mouse today, that would be so cumbersome for me.
Right. And there's some people just swear, where's the mouse? Okay.
I was like, well, that was 1984 of you.
Yes. Okay, let's go to November 18th, 1963. Bell Telephone offers the first electronic push-button telephones to consumers in Carnegie and Greenburgh, Pennsylvania. Dual-tone multi-frequency DTMF technology touch tone was also introduced on the same day in order to accommodate the new push-button telephones.
Wow. Push button. And that is the precursor to what we actually use now.
Right. We don't push now, we swipe and
Exactly. Swipe, tap, or say, hey, such and such, call
yes.
such and such.
Right. We don't even, and this was for landlines. So landlines, you might still need to push a button.
Yeah, for those people who still have landlines. Okay, so do you still have a landline?
No.
So technically, I don't either. I had a landline number, but I'm like, I'm not paying for this. I only use my cell phone. So I had it transferred to my cell phone. So I still have the number and I still have the capacity for a landline, but it's VoIP, voice over IP internet protocol. So it's not technically a landline.
Right. And it has been said that having a landline is a good thing, but they need to make them prices come way down before I'll.
It's nonsense anyway. Oh, Mark Ward is here. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark. It was an arguably better choice than their second option. Granny Smith.
Can you imagine though? We're so used to Mac, and we don't even say Macintosh. It's just Mac now.
Mac.
So we're so used to that. Can you imagine if it was called something like Granny or GS for Granny Smith?
Oh my gosh. I'm glad he thought about it, or they thought about it. Somebody thought about that. It's still named after a piece of fruit, but okay.
Well, I don't know. Do you know the story about why Macintosh? Obviously,
It-
Apple is because it's a type of apple, I guess, but
yes. And there's something to do with an orchard. I read his biography by Walter, okay, the guy who writes all the biographies for people.
okay.
Walter Isaac, is
I'll
that
go with
him?
that. I don't know.
Okay. Anywho, it had something to do with an apple orchard.
Hmm.
And his, I'm not going to sit up here and lie. It had something to do with the apple orchard.
Hmm.
But
Well,
Granny Smith would have been a little, it just doesn't roll off the tongue as well.
no, it doesn't. It doesn't. But then, maybe if that's all we knew, it would roll off the tongue well. Who knows?
Oh, like Google came to light, right? And we probably thought, what is Google?
It did. It did. It absolutely did.
So I guess, something will stick. But not what was that mouse called? The XY position indicator for a display system.
Nonsense. You
That's
have to
why he
have
called it a mouse, because it looked like a mouse with a tail. I'm like, okay.
you cannot go with scientific names, genus, and species when it comes to the public. You have to have a name that's easy to remember and that is catchy. So, and imagine this. It also looks like a rat's tail. Can you imagine if he called it a rat? A rat? So that would a gerbil. That would be interesting.
A rat, it would not, I don't think it would have caught on as well. They think of mice as, oh, cute. Rat, not so cute.
Yeah, mice are cute as long as they're not in your house.
Exactly. So on November 19th, 2006, Nintendo releases the Wii. Now, I remember this when my sister was trying to buy one for her son. People were looking all over. San Leandro is a couple of hour drive from us. Let's drive there and go pick one up. I'm not going driving nowhere for a mount. I mean, for a Wii. It,
Wow.
it was the thing. And this was back in 2006. And you can golf, you can do bowling, you can do whatever, because the little hand controllers, this was fun.
It was a huge deal. I remember we gave one away. I used to be a member of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, and we did a raffle, and the Wii was one of our prizes. And this was back like in 2006. You would have thought Jesus was coming back for the person that won. She was so excited.
It was you had exercises on it. The thing was really well done.
Exactly, exactly. So whatever became of the Wii? What is it now? Because really, there is a tremendous opportunity with it that I think is missed if they're not doing something with it.
It does not say here. It just says that the Wii Mote controller, defied expectations and became the best-selling seventh generation game console. And something came in. I don't know what the next iteration of the thing was. The Game Boy. I don't know.
Yeah, so apparently I'm looking now, and yeah, they've discontinued the Wii.
Wow. But it was fun. I mean, well, maybe the Quest may have taken over, because what we were doing with the Wii on the TV screen, you were still swinging with the remote and hitting and playing baseball and doing things, right?
Yeah,
Now you can do it inside the headset.
right, but that's exactly why Nintendo should have been on the cusp of the next thing and been like, you know what? This is precisely what we were doing with the Wii. If we get into VR technology, they're going to be able to do this without a console.
Yes,
So yeah, that they missed something there. So
right,
Mark.
because um, there are, you can read his comment if you'd like. I'm trying to see.
Absolutely. He says the we is now the them and they are gone. A little pronoun humor
Thank
there.
you, Mark. So, but it was fun. It was very fun. So, just I think I got one, two. Anyway, we'll see where I end up. November 19th, 2007, Amazon introduces their Kindle ebook reader. Where other companies had released ebook readers in previous years with limited success, the Kindle's integration with Amazon's industry leading book distribution system helped catapult the e reader into the mainstream consciousness. The Kindle sold out within 5 hours of its debut.
Wow. Yeah, wow.
And that was major back then because you didn't have an iPad, you didn't
No.
have a laptop. Well, you did have in 2007, you might have had a laptop, but just to read, on the go.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the thing that was big, obviously. I remember the day that the iPad came out. This was before they started doing all these big not televised, but live streamed events for
Hmm.
before Apple started doing it. So it was 2009 and I was in Vegas for the NatP convention, the National Association of Television Program Executives, which I tell you I usually go to every year. At that time, they were rotating where they have it now. They mostly have it here in Miami, but it was in Vegas that year. And so the big talk then was like, okay, Apple is releasing a new thing. We don't know what it is. It's supposed to be some sort of thing. And everybody was saying, we think it's going to be called the iTablet. I remember. And then on the show floor, they made the announcement when it came out. They said, everyone, it is called the iPad. I mean, that was the talk of the entire thing, the talk of the entire market floor. So I thought it was interesting now to see where they've come and the fact that Kindle was the thing before there
Hmm.
was even iPad.
And
Right.
I remember they had jokes. Hi, everybody. They
Hey,
had
hey, hey.
jokes. They had jokes. They meaning the tech journalists that wrote all the stories. They made fun of the name iPad. Like, oh, iPad. They had all kind of stupid, crazy jokes. Ha ha ha! It's stupid. Ha ha ha! And like, look where it is now.
And they
So I
probably
was
got
like,
one in. They cannot do
of
their work without one.
course,
Yeah,
of course.
listen, they gave us when I was teaching at the last university I was at full time. They were like, I think they felt bad. So all the medical and everybody got all the attention, and of course division of humanities, arts and sciences, we weren't, they weren't updating stuff on our side as fast as they were. I'm like, listen, I'm a tech person. If you don't come in here and update stuff, talking about your technology university, sit down. So then, we had our meetings. We always had a big meeting at the beginning of the year and the end of the school year. And it was always a big to do. And it was always like catered well. And I was like, you all are going to run out of money soon. And sure enough, I was right. But that's another story. But it was catered well. And then the dean started talking about XYZ. And then he said, anybody want an iPad? And when you're not used to getting stuff, we were like, oh, yeah, that's funny, iPad. And then wait, you're for real? And we gave everybody an iPad, and we had these iPad working groups and the things that you could do with them. So it's absolutely amazing. But the thing that I don't like about iPad, since we had an Apple story and we're talking about this now, the thing I don't like about this is that it is not upgradable after a certain point. So I had that same iPad that I got in 2012 from my university. I had it up until 2020, and I had to upgrade it because I could not upgrade it anymore to the latest operating system, nor could I download some apps. So it just really became a big TV remote type thing, which is awful. And I just watched a documentary last night on Netflix called Buy Now. So if you haven't seen it, watch it. And it talks about the waste and the buying, and Apple was one of the things there, right? And talking about that. And I was like, sure, right, because I was annoyed when I couldn't do it anymore. Now I was able to trade it in, but what about the people who just now have electronic junk sitting around, or God forbid, just throw it away? So yeah.
The phone, I was thinking about the iPhones. Like, I don't know how many iterations of iPhones, and it's like once it gets to a certain point, Apple doesn't support it with the software. So like you said, it's just a piece of junk sitting around.
But they will take it on trade.
Yeah, they will take it on trade.
They will take it on trade.
That is your best
I think we did that. But I was like, okay, what do we do with this?
No, exactly. And it's terrible because what ends up happening, and the film brought this up, and I've always had this problem with waste and electronic junk, because these things, not only are they, just electronic junk, but they're also hazardous junk because of the stuff that's inside of it. So you can't just really throw it away. You're supposed to recycle it or dispose of it properly. Turn it in. But guess what, Apple, if you made these things sustainably, where you didn't have to replace it every so often, this wouldn't be a problem. But Apple is not the only ones guilty of it. Lots of electronic companies, because Samsung saw what Apple was doing, and Samsung, and they also got on the thing. It's a Samsung Galaxy, and they showed this all of the thing. So that's part of the problem, and that's one reason that I have an issue with that, because listen, at some point we have to live someplace, and you're going to junk up the earth with all of this stuff.
And that's why they're trying to do their eco stuff, where they're reducing packaging and some other stuff that they're trying to they want you to give it back to them.
They want to have a zero carbon footprint.
That's something to that effect. And Mark says here they don't, where he is, is at Chicago, they don't make it electronic recycling easy. The centers and the boondocks. Right. And that was the other thing. Even where I am in one of the capital cities, I'm like, okay, who do I call? I got a printer sitting over here on the floor. Since we're just going there, the printer, I bought it. It was fine, and it's supposed to have an eco tank where you can keep just filling up the tank with ink. But now, if the nozzles dry out, it's not working. You know what I'm saying?
They don't want you to do that. This is what we don't realize. They don't want you to recycle. They want you to buy something new, because the business model of consumerism is based off of people buying. If you are not buying, it's a problem. Why do you think? Okay, I saw a TikTok the other day. It was there's probably a couple of months ago, of this couple who bought a refrigerator that was like from the 1960s. This thing was beautiful, and it had like all these pull-out containers, a wine for thing for this, a thing for that, and it still worked. You get one of these airplane spaceship looking refrigerators, and it lasts for 3 years.
The AI refrigerator.
Yes, and you're lucky if it lasts. I'm trying not to talk too loud because my refrigerator is trying to act like it wants to leave. So, and I bought that in 2009. So I'm like, I need you to last for like 50 years, like other refrigerators do.
And back in the day, that's what they did. You could get you a what is it, Maytag or something.
That was the whole marketing campaign of Maytag. Was the Maytag repairman didn't have anything to do because the things didn't break. That was the whole, which was genius, because the Maytag repairman was like answering excited when the phone rang, because the phone didn't ring because no one needed him. It was genius. But now,
okay, do we see that commercial anymore?
Nope.
Nope, because they need him now.
Nope. That was the thing about Maytag, and then the if you went to Sears and got their store brand name, which they bought from Maytag, Everybody knew you want, you can't get the Maytag, go to Sears and get the I think it was Kenmore line.
Kenmore.
Yeah,
But
Kenmore.
they bought the Maytag line and put their brand on it. So, but
Yep.
Yeah, Sears Kenmore was good at one point. GE was
back
good
in
at one point.
back in the day, because that's when they cared about quality.
Exactly.
Well, okay, yeah, that boat has sailed. Mark says, I think that my refrigerator may be older than me.
Wow.
Well, if it works, keep it. But
That's what I'm saying.
we're in this microwave society of, like Dr. Tati said, they want you to buy new because it's good for their bottom line, but it's not good for us.
And listen, there was, especially if you have a high end refrigerator or appliances, like you have Wolf, Sub-Zero, if you have things like that. There was a home before I got this one that I was looking to buy, and it was a duplex, and it had the side I would live on had like Sub-Zero appliances, but they were like old Sub-Zero, but they still worked.
Yeah, those
Right.
quality. Yeah.
Quality.
Sub-Zero and a Wolf stove. Woo wee.
Yes. Yep.
What
It was a
we would
Sub-Zero
give for a
refrigerator
Wolf
and a
stove.
Wolf stove. So I was like, I don't care how old this is. I'm not changing it if I end up getting this.
Right.
Right. My last story, this is something in your realm, Dr. Tachi. November 22nd, 1995. Toy Story changes the movies. Walt Disney Pictures releases the Pixar Animation Studios production of Toy Story. Cannot believe that was 1995. The first major motion picture that is created completely by computer-generated animation. A breakthrough film, Toy Story set the standard for all future computer animated films to follow and catapulted Pixar into a household name.
Yes, I remember that very well. Listen, I always say I remember that, but I do because, again, I was a film student at this time, and we were looking at all of these things. And again, that was the big talk that Toy Story was coming out and it was going to be all computer generated. Now, I had studied some computer animation, so it was very simple computer animation, but I had studied it, so that's why I was like so interested. And yeah, I took a whole like a CGI class, and I was in that class when this came out, and we talked about it and we dissected it. And so I was also very interested in film in general, obviously, because I was a film student. But I had made, like, that semester before, I made a stop motion animation using clay figurines that I made myself. And I said there has to be a damn easier way, because I got through. It ended up being a short film. I got through
It's
3
gonna
minutes.
be real short if I'm gonna have to do it.
You know what? It was about to be 30 seconds, but I said no. I have to act like this is a project. It took me like 2 weeks continuously so hours and hours and hours to finish that 3 minutes of films. I said never again, but I was excited. I went and I bought the thing because I was using a Bolex 16mm camera. I went to the camera store and bought a trigger so that I could do frame by frame. So you click and then you have to move it. Then you click and then you have to move it. If you move it too much, it looks choppy. So it has to be very small movements. I said, never again will I do this. And so when Pixar came out with that, I said, yeah, that's probably the way I'm going to do stuff, because this is not working for me. So I remember that very well.
So, do you know NVIDIA, the AI video maker?
Yes, I do.
They now do claymation.
I saw, but you have to pay extra for that, don't you?
Yeah, you did. Somebody needed something, and so I did a claymation. I'm like, let me try the claymation. Oh, that's $10 extra for you get so many for 10. Anyway, I was like, okay, it's $10. I'll do $10 since I was doing a 30-second commercial, and they did this little 10, claymation looking thing. I was like, okay. And then when I needed to change something, I said, just take me back to the regular video stock footage, because I'm not paying you anymore.
Well, $10 or 10 years like I had to do for the stop motion. The $10 is worth it. If you I'm telling you.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. So that is your week in tech history. And I guess tech is making history with the advent of that whole claymation, and you can create a video now. I can create a video commercial like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I'm like, woo! And not, sorry, Dr. Tachi, we don't have to do 2 weeks of clay.
Oh no, I don't blame you. Listen, I'm not advocating for putting yourself through any more stress than you need. It was a good learning experience, but you see, I never did another clay animation again or stop motion animation again.
And I don't think that's just like the people who before that they drew on a card, right?
You gotta love it.
And then you draw another picture with the thing moved, and then you draw another picture. Okay, I'm not doing that.
That's actually the flip books. That actually is how animations are done. Were done originally. You do frame by frame. So you draw on cells frame by frame over the other picture. You're just basically tracing it so that the movement is just slightly different from the frame before it. So that's how it had to be done. It was like frame by frame before all this computer stuff.
Right. And now
Wow.
I wonder if the Jurassic Park had anything to do with that. Did Jurassic Park come out before Pixar?
No, it was after.
No, after.
So that was CGI that they used. That was like, rather than the entire thing being computer animated, now they are layering CGI over that. And it had really, because you need something that is photorealistic in order to, so that it doesn't look like Land of the Lost, Croft puppets.
Hey, I
love Land of the Lost, but we knew good and damn well those things weren't real. We knew those were Marty Sid and Marty Croft's puppets.
Okay, so that was like Gumby. Okay, I'm dating myself. Gumby was the claymation dude.
Yes,
and they just left him looking like clay too.
They didn't try.
The mouth. They had to
Gumby and Pokey. Yes,
Gumby and Pokey. Oh my goodness.
And then Saturday Night Live did their
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy was Gumby. Yeah,
yeah, but he was the late night version.
He sure was.
That wasn't for the kids.
No, it was just okay, but it was still clay, and they
had the the good old days. HR Puff and stuff.
Oh yes.
Okay.
And by the way, Sid is still alive. He
really?
just turned 95. Yeah, I follow him on Instagram. He does lives every week, and he'll talk about, and he's always at like these Comic-Cons, etc. And he'll talk about working with the puppets and the different thing. There were so many different things that he was involved in that I never knew. So I always watch whenever he's there. It's so cool.
I have to follow him.
Yeah.
Witchy Poo.
Yes, Witchy Poo. The Bugaloos.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. The things we watch as kids was like,
well, you only watch what they gave us.
My mom wanted me to clean the house. I was like, well, I gotta watch HR Puppet stuff and Land of the Lost.
And this is the interesting thing, because syndication, not to get too deep into it, but syndication works so differently now. Because if you think about it, those shows were on, most of them came out before we were born.
Right.
So it was only it used to be that you had to have 100 episodes before you were in syndication, so that it allowed you to be like replayed or whatever. But like, okay, if you think about it, the cartoons we had when we were little, they don't really play them now, except maybe like Cartoon Network, etc. Right? But it's not like
so dated. And another thing is they're so dated. Like you were saying about the Land of the Lost, it's like it's obviously. They're running. Yeah, and the dinosaur's gonna get us, but they're running in place, and you obviously could tell. But when you're a kid, you're like,
because the kid can use kids use their imagination. The adults are
what I'm
like,
saying is, you look at it now. That's why, like Dr. Tati said, they don't really show it now, because if I showed that thing to my daughter, she'd be like, "What the? You watch this?"
But and so that's the point. That Land of the Lost and stuff was before our time,
Right,
but we
right,
watched it and we
right.
were able to, like, I was like, oh no, so I would always like kind of hide my eyes, like, oh no,
And
that
Johnny
T-Rex
Quest,
was coming,
stuff like
right?
Johnny Quest, and
now Johnny Quest was good because it had a
Yeah,
whole
I
little
like Johnny
mystery
Quest.
to it. You know, it was like mystery. Did somebody get murdered in that or something? But it was little.
Yeah, and the Scooby Doo and Johnny Quest they were always searching for clues and finding solving the mystery and finding
Yes.
the bad guy,
And nobody could tell me I was not a detective. I used to, with Scooby-Doo, it came on at 3:00 in the afternoon. And again, those Scooby-Doos were made before our time as well, because they were made in the 60s. So
Right.
then I came home at 3:00. I was like, Scooby-Doo was on. I have my pad. And I remember I would write down, I was like, mysterious man appears again.
All these shows like Gilligan Island, that was my favorite thing. They all came on, Bewitched and stuff. They all were made before.
Exactly, but we were still able to enjoy them.
Yeah.
But it seems like now, like, I don't know about your daughter, but has she watched any cartoons from like when you were small?
No.
So it could be very well that now technology has advanced quicker in this time than because if you think about it, they were still really doing cartooning and things the way they had been doing them since the 30s when we were young. It was only when
the Bugs Bunny stuff,
So then when CGI came in, or computer generated images, that was when you were able to crank out more and different types of stuff, so you weren't reliant.
I'm thinking when I brought up the Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny, stuff like that, a lot of that was political, and we didn't know it because they did stuff like the wars, like the early stuff was like about right after World War II and stuff, and they had a lot of political stuff, and it flew over my head. But now I look at it now. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, look at all that political stuff that's in there.
All those cartoons were not made for kids.
Right.
They were not. There was also a lot of racism. So
that too.
Racism. Yeah.
So I'm saying that because I'm thinking that like today's kids they're not getting that kind of messaging.
Then they came out with Powerpuff Girls and
all the
SpongeBob, SquarePants.
Yeah,
I did like the Powerpuff Girls though.
I like SpongeBob.
I like SpongeBob, but again, Krabby Patties and
I like Ren and Stimpy.
Okay,
I didn't like Ren and Stimpy
because I love Ren. You had to get it was like an offbeat thing, like. Everybody didn't get it. I got it. So
I did not like Ren and Stimpy.
It's not like Beavis and Butthead. No.
Oh no, I didn't like them either.
They were hideous.
Yeah, that was horrible. That was just.
And they still come on.
Show you all the different attitudes and types of animation that we have. So
absolutely, that was the era of the beginning of Adult Swim. On Cartoon Network, where you started to have all these cartoons that were geared toward adult animations. So like, okay, I used to love King of the Hill.
I got
into it.
I used to love King of the Hill. For some reason, I used to crack up over the thing. So I was a Simpsons fan as well.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I see the funny part of King of the Hill. It was just not like I didn't want to watch it. I mean, I got it, but I was like, I like The Simpsons and The King of the Hill. I got it, but I just never watched it. Like,
I get it. Teach your own. And Mark says, beware of the Slee Stack.
Yeah,
I used to be scared of the Slee Stack.
And what is the Slee Stack? Yes, I'm
the lizard people.
Lizard, and they went. They never spoke. They just.
And you could hear them coming, and they're like, come on, the Slee Stack. But there was one of them that was a higher evolved form, like the
little one? It was a little one, I think.
No, that's like Chaka, the hairy one.
Okay.
So there was the Slee Stack were those lizard people, and there was one that was a more evolved. The Slee Stack were green. Enid Enid was orange and he could
Okay.
talk. So he was a more advanced, like the Sleestack were his ancestors.
Right. Like he was the more
Look at
modern
Fran.
version.
I was like, what? I like Pinky and the Brain.
I did too.
Yes,
That
I
is
love
my
Pinky
thing.
and the Brain.
When people ask me, well, so what are you doing? I'm like, the same thing I do every night. Try to take over the
Take
world.
over the world.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's fun times. I say cartoons, but animation is just different worlds and different flavors.
Absolutely. I feel sorry
So.
for kids now.
No,
If
they're
they
happy.
don't
Don't. No, they. I'm telling you. I show my daughter was like, "What is this?" And it should bring. It's like giving them spinach. It's like, what the hell is what you watch?
you actually watch this stuff?
Because
So,
they're used to different. They got cutting edge graphics and all these neon things and
Well, cutting edge graphics with rubbish story.
yeah,
right.
that's what
It's
they're.
a waste of graphics.
But see, they weren't exposed to the things that we were exposed. So that's it's kind of like whatever thing that you're put in, whatever world, that's what you know, and you think that's great. So I'm like, hey.
No G.I. Joe lessons at the end.
G.I. Joe.
It's just interesting. And that is your week in tech history.
Okay.
TJ, you have the floor.
All right, let's get into it. There was a lot. I tried to edit it down because next week is a holiday. There's not going to be too much going on because they like to wind down.
Yeah, because by the way, you will be seeing a replay.
Next
week.
Yeah. So let's get it all.
Sorry, is it replays the whole week or just Thursday, Friday?
Just Thursday, Friday.
Okay.
Tuesday. For me.
Oh, Tuesday. You doing you taking vacation too? Yay.
Yeah.
So you heard it here
I
first.
got it.
It might be the whole week.
I saw a good story this week, but I was like, oh, it can wait. No, I can wait. Okay. Let's see. Let me get in. A lot of this stuff came out today because I was listening. I get up in the morning and I say, hey, play my, and then I heard a clip of something from CNBC. I was like, ooh. So a lot of stuff came out today. And let me see. Where do we want? Let's start with Blue Sky, since that's like the hot topic du jour.
Hot topic indeed.
Hot topic du jour. Okay, so Blue Sky is now at 20 million users, and they're very happy about that. We was it Tuesday, Fran? You and I joined.
Well,
I joined.
Look, I already had a Blue Sky. I asked for my password or reset, and I still did not get that. I was like, okay, what's the deal, people?
Now I checked my email and I had because this was when it was invite only. When Blue Sky first came out, was it 2022? I don't remember the year, but when it first came out, it was invite only. So I remember getting the invite, and then I just I just let it lay. I was like, I don't really want it. And then we talked about it Tuesday. I was like, well, let me go over and get my name because Asmart Ward said he was going to go and take my name. So I said, let me go over there and get my name. Now, speaking of that, that's going to be a little bit part of this story. But they are Blue Sky is very happy. They've hit a major milestone. Is over 20 million users. So they are also the new data that says, and I'm not sure where the data is from, probably data AI or Sensor Tower is another one. I think Sensor Tower bought data AI. I think, but that's where they get the numbers from. So they're saying it's closing the gap with X and Instagram Thread. So it's like it's getting. Oh, sorry. It's in the running for being like the daily active users, like daily use, but they still don't have Threads that has over 275 million users total. But then it gets into monthly active users, then it gets to daily active users. Meta does not share daily active users numbers. They're guessing, but Blue Sky is closing the gap, and it is very, like I said, it's the hot topic du jour. Everybody, Blue Sky. It's like, oh, you follow me. It's all that chatter online, and then there's the whole I'm not going over there. I'm staying with the Reds, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, just go where you want to go. Go to your playground. So they're saying that there's data from SimilarWeb, which SimilarWeb is a website that tracks website analytics like rankings, user traffic, stuff like that. So SimilarWeb is saying that Threads has 5 times more daily active users than Blue Sky ahead of the elections. But on November 15th, which was a big day for Blue Sky, the gap narrowed. So it wasn't 5 times more daily, went down to 1.5. So, but that is daily active users, even though Blue Sky only has 20 million compared to 275. It's like these platforms want to see the daily use. And, that's where the money comes in if you're talking about ads, because if you sign up, that's good, but they want to look at the daily active users, and Meta doesn't share that, but there's been guessing and stuff. So with this news, the Instagram CEO came out and said SimilarWeb data is not accurate. They don't share DAU is daily active users. So this whole back and forth. Now, talking about getting the username, and then I see Mark put up a comment. Let me put it up. He said, "What, you joined and haven't joined my 20 followers by following me? Noted on your permanent record." Well, Mark, I have to follow. I don't know who to follow. I followed Barb, because Barb Tomlin did a live with Pat in North Carolina, Pat from Durham Skywriter. I just happened to see the notification that Barb posted in the group, and I went over and watched them and everything. And then she said she was on Blue Sky, so I went and followed her, and then I followed everybody that she was following, which was like 10 people, a handful. So I'm slowly getting into following. So I will follow you, Mark. But the thing about the following and getting the name is that a lot of bad actors are going to Blue Sky and pretending to be the famous people, because they
Are they doing that again?
They don't have, Blue Sky does not have an official mark that says I am.
You don't get a check.
I am Oprah. So people are going over. Well, I'm gonna be Oprah on Blue Sky, because there's no not content moderation. There
are no checks and balances.
Right. So people have been saying that they've been following, famous person or journalist or known name person that they were following on X. So they was like, oh, let me go to Blue Sky, search for the name, and they found there's no way to know. Because a lot of things that people were doing on X was parody accounts. The good actors were putting like there's an Elon Musk parody. Like it's parodying the stuff he said, but they put parody in the title. So it's not him. But other people are going over to Blue Sky and saying, well, I'm just going to be Elon Musk or famous person or this and that. And nobody. So if I'm pretty sure somebody took Beyonce's name, but you could go over there and be Beyonce or Kim Kardashian, whoever. Insert name.
How bad are you?
Insert name. Because there's nothing to stop you from doing that. When you go to sign up for Blue Sky, they ask you for a username. I'm gonna be Mark Cuban. I'm gonna be Oprah. I'm gonna be whoever. Can't be people like Gary Vaynerchuk, because he was first on it. Like when it came out, he goes over and gets his name, even though there's no activity. So that's what I did. I only got my name, and I don't think I posted anything, but I started following people. But that's the issue. People are starting to complain about they're going to Blue Sky, searching for the people that they like to follow from X or Threads or wherever, the name, and they go over there and they follow the person, and it's not the person, and there's no way to tell. There's no authentication service as of yet. I don't know if they're going to put it in. So here we are. There's excitement about Blue Sky because it feels like the old Twitter, and it's all chronological and blah 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 blah. But you got that. Plus, here's another thing. I saw the story. I think it was, let me go to it. It was fast. No, it was on the Wrap. Rob Reiner says MAGA scum, his words, have already wrecked Blue Sky and he's leaving. And he said that it quickly became vile, racist, and evil. Already.
What? Who said this? Mark Cuban?
Hold on. No. Rob Reiner. Let me pull up because I want
Rob
to show.
Reiner?
Yeah. Let me show you. Let me show. He's already. He says, "I'm leaving." He's already. Okay, here we go. It's the rap. Rob Reiner says MAGA scum have already wrecked Blue Sky. He's taking a break from social media because it's vile, racist, and evil. Here's his tweet, and that's what he said. This platform is vile, racist, and evil. It did not take long for MAGA scum to come and spread their lies. I have made the decision to take the next few days to check into a facility for peace and relaxation. No phones, social media, no trolls. There's calmness to heal my pain.
You don't have to have them in your feed, right, Mr. Reiner?
Right. You and getting to that. Let me take this down. Getting to that, I've discovered, because again, we had this discussion on Tuesday about using Blue Sky, that they have block lists. Like, people will say, here's the block list for this group of people that you don't want to interact with, and you click on it and you click block, and it blocks. Like, if there's 100 people, it just instant. So instead of you going one by one, helpful people are making this list. But again, you also have to realize and remember that maybe if it's a list of 100 people, it might be somebody that got caught in the net. Like, when they put the tuna net down, they might get some flounder or something. It might be somebody you want. So you have to go through the list and see. But there's a button that says block, and it blocks everybody on that list. So some people are taking that upon themselves to curate block lists for certain things.
I'm glad you have time.
So they're doing it. I'm not doing it.
No, not you. But I mean,
right. No, that's what I'm saying. There's people doing it. Also, we talked about Black Twitter a lot. They're moving to Blue Sky. They're calling theirs Black Sky.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm on it.
And you search the hash, and if you want to be included, you use the hashtag Black Sky or hashtag add me to Black Sky. And then you can also you could do this without having an account. You could just go and search and put the Black Sky in there, and you'll see people's posts. Black Sky again has there's people that are curating block lists. So you have to be careful of the list that you use to block, because like I said, there might be 1 or 2 people in there that got caught up in the tuna net. And you're like, well, how come I can't see their posts? Well, they're in that block list. So there's some block features that are better than X. But here we go. People, X, there's nothing to stop the X people from coming over. The ones that you're trying to avoid, the neighbors. It's like moving to a different neighborhood. You left the ghetto neighbors behind that are partying and the trash on the lawn, and you move to a better neighborhood, and somehow they are moving. Like, hey, neighbor, we won the lottery. We're here with you. But they're still going to do the same things. So I see a lot of people that are upset that the MAGA or insert whatever group you don't want to interact with, they're coming to Blue Sky because there's nothing to stop them. You go to Blue Sky and you sign up. Username, email, password. They're not asking you, are you MAGA?
And you have to also remember that, again, some of these are not real people. Some of these may be bots that are there to
probably so. But what I'm saying is there's nothing to stop the people that are getting angry, like, oh, Rob Reiner, they're coming over here. What's to stop them?
There's nothing to stop them. And you don't have to see them. Just make your feed in such a way that you don't see them.
But I'm saying they have the attitude of why they here. Well, one, what does a bully do when they can't bully you and you go the other way? Well, they're going to go the other way because they want to bully you. It's their fun. They want to see you upset. So they're going to follow you. And like Dr. Tati said, you got to block. You got to mute. You got all of those things. But what I'm saying is I'm getting an underlying sense of, well, why are they here?
You can't stop them from being that. This is the thing, as if you can stop them.
How do you stop them? So are you going to do like some kind of eye retina test or some kind of biometric of you're MAGA, you're this, you're that? You can't get in the blue sky. I'm just saying, I see the conversations and they're like, why are they here?
If you
We
want
like
your
it.
conversation, then you need to have a group chat with your friends. Simple as that.
No, they're just mad that they're on blue sky. Like they don't have the right to come to blue sky. That is the attitude. They
It's a
know how to
public
block
forum.
and they block. They're like, why are you like stay over there on X because we left? But those kind of people see that you leave X and they're like, ha ha ha, we're gonna follow you and we're gonna pull your pigtail and we're gonna trip you over there.
They only want attention because their lives are so sad otherwise. So you left. The important people left. And so now there's nothing for them to do over there, and they don't get the attention because they're all clamoring for attention over there. So they left. So of course they're going to follow you.
See, Mark says Rob Reiner hasn't learned the one stroke block for. It's not that, Mark. It's they don't him and I've seen it over and over. Those people do. They don't want MAGA over there or whatever hate group, Proud Boys, whatever you fill in the blank. They don't want them over there. Like
I don't either.
Should not be. But how do you stop that?
You can't.
Thank you. So that's what I'm saying. You do the one block list, like Mark says, or you do Rob Reiner and leave. That's cool too. Bye. Nobody's making you use social media. You don't have to go to the mall and hang out with the cool kids or do whatever you used to do. You don't have to. You can put the phone down and go outside and touch grass, like they like to say. So you stay and you make the block list, but this grumbling about why they here, because they want to be, because there's nothing to stop them. I don't know what to tell you, that you're not happy. Then go someplace where you can be happy.
You know what we also have to realize too, and not to belabor the point, but Rob Reiner is old school Hollywood, right? He's been in Hollywood as an actor and then director and creator forever. And old Hollywood is exclusionary. Old Hollywood has gatekeepers that can keep out the undesirables. It's always been set up that way.
Right.
I mean, then you also don't get good, the great talent that could be out there, but it is the people they deem undesirable.
Right.
But they don't have that kind of control with social media. You can't keep people out. So of course they're frustrated. I mean, I saw the same thing when Steven Spielberg went on the tirade about why Netflix shouldn't have to. Why are you mad? What does it matter to you?
Mad? Exactly.
Because they're used to the exclusionary old Hollywood system that only benefits the few. And so, my friends, you have to wake up. This is a new day, a new world. There's new technology. Everyone can participate.
Yes,
and if you're mad, then that must mean that you aren't as talented as you thought you were.
Right. And then I bring up Rob Reiner only because I saw the article. But what I'm saying is this is coming from regular old people. This attitude. I've seen the conversations on other places like, oh, they're coming to ruin our neighborhood. And why are they here? I'm like, but you don't have to use it. And you can't stop them. There's no real estate agent going, well, you're a certain color. You can't, I'm going to block it. They don't do that. They don't do that.
To your point of you regular people doing it, absolutely, because the regular people also like to be exclusionary. They like using Hollywood as an example is because they're an established system. Right. But regular people like something that it's just for us too. It can't be open for everyone.
It's not. But
no,
I'm like, what fantasy world did you get into when you decided that you were leaving X for blue sky and thought it was going to be rainbows and lollipops, and those people were going to be over there behind the gate? There's no gate.
There's sunshine, rainbows, and lollipops.
There's no gate. They can come. They can follow you like a bully in real life. They follow you home from school. You go the other way. They follow you the other way the next day. That's it. That's how it goes. But what I'm and I just saw that article and I was like, okay, he's like, okay, there you go. So he's choosing to leave. Goodbye.
I suspect there's something bigger than just that, though, because that doesn't seem like attitude.
Who cares? Like you said, who cares?
Who
Who cares? Barb is here. Hey, Barb. She says, kudos to Dr. Tachi for following me on Blue Sky today on my Edge browser, launching Chrome now to listen to your live. Be right back. Hey, Barb.
Hey, Barb.
Yeah, so I followed her, and then I followed everybody she was following me because I recognize those people that I follow on Facebook, or I follow on here, I follow on there. So, but they're just realize there's an issue of people signing up with the fake name. Like, they're not Oprah. Oprah's not on Blue Sky. She's probably there as somebody, and they're going on to what? Scam. And I think I heard things about scamming and stuff already. So for some reason, these people thought it was going to be rainbows and lollipops because they left X.
I'm sorry to laugh.
But that's what I'm looking back like, what?
Okay, so there was no way to follow these people. Oh, no, I'm sorry. There was no way for Blue Sky to clear up all this stuff before they launched it. They already knew the challenges coming in.
But how do you see? This is the part of living in America and a democracy. All roads are supposed to be open to everyone. So how do you block that group?
No, I'm not talking about the blocking. I'm talking about putting in checks and balances so people won't.
But see, they can, but they're not going to do that, because then you're blocking a group of people that when they get ready to run ads.
No. I don't mean block people. I meant keep the bots out, keep the fake.
Yeah, keep the bots out. But a lot of these are just people just in the basement.
You know, another thing too, Blue Sky has been around for a little bit of time now, but this is what happens with every tech thing. They never anticipate that something could happen where there would be a huge influx of people. So now nobody was looking at Blue Sky before for that.
Right.
So bots and scammers and people weren't necessarily over there because it's like, okay, well, there's not that big, but now you have
a small team. The company is small.
Team.
It's not MAGA. It's not Meta World where there's thousands and thousands or hundreds of thousands of employees in AI. It's a small
team, and nobody
said they weren't expecting this mass. Nobody knew what was going to happen.
I mean, they probably should have put 2 and 2 together once they saw Muskrat and his behavior, but that's a different story. But they didn't, and they have a small team. And so now they're tasked with doing this. So on top of trying to handle the traffic from all this new influx of people, this new influx of people also includes bots that they have to.
Now that the bots they can do something about. I'm talking about just, the real bully. Barbara says Blue Sky Tech are working hard to clean it up quickly. Good to know, the bots. And great that we can block the scammers, though. Sadly, Elon took that away from us on X. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why, people was like, okay, it's time to. They felt like it was time to go. And there's been waves of people leaving X. Like, there was a wave, and then there was a wave, and then they went to Threads, and now they can go to Blue Sky. Like, they discovered it yesterday when it's been around, I think, I want to say 2 years. I got to check my email. Maybe a year it's been around.
Yeah.
But, but that's what's going on. I just see I like to look at the conversations and see what people are saying, and they're upset that they're being followed by not the bots. Just, okay, the bully that was on X is now following, trying to come over there, but there's the block list, so you can block them. But then again, they can come back as another username that you might like, and here they are again. So you got to keep block. It's like the whack-a-mole, the game whack-a-mole. That's what it is. So I see the conversations of people thinking they found their utopia, their Xanadu, their place of in the heavens with the sun shining down and the doves and when doves cry to peace. That's what they thought they had, and they didn't have it for a week.
If Blue Sky is utopia, then I'd hate to see hell.
To them, because they're so invested in it must look like X. And I'm like, well, it's about conversations. And if you want to have a conversation, you got threads. But we don't want to use threads because that's Mark Zuckerberg, even though you're on Facebook, WhatsApp, and Messenger and Instagram. But you got a problem with threads.
No, it kills me when people.
It doesn't make sense. You're already there. Oh, don't train my data. Don't use my data to train AI. It's been happening. Listen,
Already done.
that ship sailed way back decades. Okay.
Already done.
To me, I don't understand the conversation, but that's what's going on with Blue Sky. It's the hot topic du jour, and now, it was a hot cup of coffee, and now it's cooling off, and people are not disgruntled, but where can we go? There's no place to go. And like, take the good with the bad. But at least there's some great tools to block people. All right, so let's move on. WhatsApp is rolling out voice message transcripts. So if that's something you want, they're making this new feature when you're on the, it says it comes in handy when you're on the move or in a loud place where you can't listen to a voice message. Voice messages can be transcribed into text to help you keep up with conversations when you're unable or you can't listen to a voice message. Google does this with the Google Voice Messages, which is, they send you an email and transcribe it. So this is happening in WhatsApp. You have to turn the feature on, and then you get a transcript for the voice message by long pressing it and then tapping the transcribe option. It will not automatically transcribe every message for you. So if you use WhatsApp and that's something you want, there you go. They're saying that's rolling out soon. And let's get in one for Microsoft. Microsoft, I saw this, even though this is not a social media app, but Microsoft is going to let you clone your voice for Teams meeting. Teams is their platform software that allows team collaborations like Slack and stuff like that, where a group can.
It's terrible.
Right. So yeah, it's not all Microsoft stuff is like that. Oop. So. But they're going to let team users clone their voice so they can have their sound alike, speak to others in meetings in different languages. So it's going to deliver real-time speech-to-speech interpretation capabilities. They're going to do up to 9 languages: English, French, German, Italian, Spanish, Korean, Portuguese, Mandarin, Chinese, and Spanish. Now, here's the quote from the CMO. Imagine being able to sound just like you in a different language. The interpreter agent and Teams provide real-time speech-to-speech translation during meetings, and you can opt in to have it simulate your speaking voice for a more personalized and engaging experience. Now, I add this story because this is Microsoft Teams at the moment, but expect this to come to 360 if it works. 365, Copilot, whatever Microsoft has going on is expected to come to the computer. So they're trying it with Teams.
Okay, so Teams, I did not like using Teams. It was a little glitchy. Very unstable. And then you had to use Edge.
Yes, you had to use the Edge browser.
And I was like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, so this is really where things are going with voice. Like 11 Labs has the text-to-speech. I think YouTube is doing some stuff where you can have your videos transcribed into different languages. There is the concern about deep fakes. So remember, there's been deep fakes. I think it was Taylor Swift, President Joe Biden, President Obama, was it Gayle King? A whole bunch of famous people that they've taken things and deep fake to target, and they do it to scam. I think one of the things with Gayle King was she was selling some gummies.
Now good and well.
If you know Gayle King, she's got nothing to do with these gummies.
Nothing. But see I think, not to interrupt, but I think that's where
Right.
you also have to do your due diligence and be smart and be media literate. That's part of
Mhm.
the problem, that we don't have a high level of media literacy. And so you fall for all of these. Listen, I've never
Right.
seen a stupider populace in life. Seriously. I really, really
But
question.
you know they get people of a certain age. And they not even with the deep fake, they get them with the a phone call that, oh, your grandson Timmy is in jail and needs bail money. Go to the store and get these gift cards, and we need, you know, whatever X amount, but get them all in gift cards and call us back. And you know how many people do that because
No,
they got them with the initial my grandson or my whatever's in trouble.
no, exactly, exactly, and it is certain people of a certain age. But I really, it's open to everybody, because think about how many
Right.
scams. This is
Right.
why whenever you're at work, you go through. I mean, I just had to do, these trainings, these online trainings, how to spot the scams, etc. Because
Right.
even people that seemingly you could just like by mistake click an email and like, oh, so it's
Yeah.
that awareness.
Yeah,
So I
it's
think
easy.
everybody.
So they're saying that I forgot. Oh, I don't have the link to the information where it came from, but they're saying losses linked to impersonation scams top 1 billion. Oh, the FTC. The FTC says losses linked to impersonation scams like the deep fakes that target individuals by impersonating loved ones and stuff like this is 1 billion last year, and expect that to go up. Because like you said, like Dr. Chachi said, that people get caught up. So think about this voice translation or voice cloning, and it speaks different languages, and it sounds like your loved one who is in trouble, and you're on the East Coast, they're on the West Coast, and it's like they call, and it feeds into the fear of, oh my god, and you don't hear the rest of it. You don't hear the rest of it of, like I said about the gift cards. Like you're never going. That's not happening if they're in jail or they're been arrested, or it's not gift cards. It's something else. So,
Look, like they're gonna take.
but so just so many people get caught up in that scam that it's crazy. So you, like Dr. Tati says, you have to take a step back and say, wait a minute. It's like the bank that tells you do not respond to any text messages, or we would never ask you for blah blah blah. You call the bank. If the bank says, hey, this is Chase Bank, that's something, don't respond to the text message. Call the bank. Hey, I got a text message from you guys saying I got to give you my information. Like that. Like we don't do that. But people automatically, because the fear factor jumps in of, we must do what it says. I mean, no. Who? Chase or whoever or whatever. Let me call them directly.
Right.
It's your customer, or it's a family member. Let me call little Timmy's mom. Hey, I got to call. They're like, what? What are you talking about? That's how the scammers get you. So these ways the technology is going to get better and better, and they're going to scam because they want to scam, just like the bullies want to bully. They should go out and do something productive, but they want to scam you. And technology allows them to do that. So that's why I brought up this story to show you where it's going from Microsoft. And this, think about, since we've had ChatGPT and how much it has changed and all of these AI tools and things. It just I'm trying to think of that. Is it Gremlins? What was a movie where they got wet and they multiplied, and so like it just turned into like millions of gremlins? Is that right?
Gremlins.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of when I think of AI. Mark says that's why you should buy from me. It was on Shark Tank. Don't bother looking for that episode. For some reason, you won't find it. He said that's why you should buy from me. Yeah, there's one from Barbie. Let me put this up. No way is Blue Sky Utopia. I won't be using Threads though. But what I'm saying, Barbie, is that that's the attitude out there of some of these people that have left X for the things that have happened on X. They feel like they found their utopia for a week after the election. It was great. They were in an undiscovered island, and it was untouched with the flowers and the fauna, and now here comes the developers. Gonna mow down all of the beautiful beachfront property. You was gonna set up your little camp on the beach, and here comes, there. That's what it is. That's what I'm saying. It's not utopia. I know that. I'm just saying that there's some people out there that have that mindset of they found their place that was Twitter-like with all of the bad stuff going. But I said, hey, bad stuff is coming because they can move. When you move to a new neighborhood, here's the bad neighbors moving with you. So what do? You have to move again.
This has the makings of a Tony Award-winning musical, if you ask me.
All right, so that's what Microsoft is doing. Just this is where we're going: deep fakes and cloning voices, and not people being. It's not real. So we gotta learn how to distinguish between that. It's going to be very hard to do going forward. All right, so here's one that I heard this morning. OpenAI is thinking about making its own browser. Now, this is from the Information website, and they said OpenAI has considered developing a web browser that will be combined with ChatGPT. So they want to do that in order to take away market share from Google. And that's all we have on that they just been thinking about making a browser.
Okay, people need to say.
But Brave, because Fran uses Brave. Brave already has that, right? They have the browser with the AI built in.
Who?
Right? Brave, Brave.
No, I don't use Brave.
Oh, okay.
But okay, we got Google, who has Gemini, right?
Right.
We have the ability to just do ChatGPT and it goes and searches stuff anyway now.
Mm-hmm.
Is this another who asked for this? Because I think you are okay. OpenAI already has Microsoft's Copilot.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Bing.
Right.
So why would you start your own and just not be in them other places?
Because they see our opening. Google has dropped the ball, and Google should have been number one. They're not in AI. They have Gemini, and they're coming from the rear as far as like branding and usage, and they know it. Google knows it, but Google's a big thing. There's even talk of breaking up Google. There's that talk.
Yes.
But wouldn't it be like we talked before? You got to try and get people to move from Google to come over to their Bing.
Okay, right. But see, here's the thing: it's not like Bing. Bing's a loser. Copilot. I mean, let's be real. It's not going. They're not getting the stuff that they wanted. Microsoft. They know it, but they're going to try.
And Yahoo was a search engine, and we
where
are not.
Is it?
Exactly my point. So
right.
So OpenAI just needs to do AI and leave stuff alone.
But see, here's the other factor that I talked about before, that the Gen Z, that's why I love to talk about them. They don't use Google. They search on TikTok. They search on all the new things. They don't want to use Google. Google to them is like Facebook.
Right. So even if OpenAI puts ChatGPT in everything, just make it a part of the soup of everybody's soup. It's already in Apple's intelligence thing. It's already in Microsoft.
The Copilot in the Windows, yeah.
It's in Bing.
Right.
So if they just integrate into the things that are already there, they are already cornered the market.
But see, here's the other side of that. What if I don't like Microsoft? I don't like all the others. And here I like ChatGPT. And here they come. Hey, here's a browser. People are going to use that. It may not overtake Google, but there's market share for it based on what they have already.
But okay, is it redundant though? Because if I go to Chat GPT and it said, find me articles on blah, 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 it's going to go search and bring it back. I don't
Right.
need to
But see,
have the
but
search engine. I already have the
But
Chat
see, they
GPT.
already have the search engine in ChatGPT, and then realize that Microsoft, they're already redundant because they're in Microsoft. So it's not a deal breaker to them. We're already with Microsoft. We're already partnered with Microsoft, but they still have their own standalone product, which a lot of people, I don't want to use Microsoft. There's the standalone product of ChatGPT. So I'll go to, and what they're doing is they're branding it. That's what this is.
Yeah. And what
It's
are they
the
going to call it?
branding. It's branding of ChatGPT. And instead of me going, yeah, I know it's in Copilot, but I don't like that.
Okay, but
That's what they're doing. Because
so
remember, they were the nonprofit and the profit, and now they're focusing on profit. And this is one of the ways of market share and growth as a brand.
So what are they calling it now?
There's no information. That's just the information that they're thinking about a browser. It's just one of those stories. The website, the information put it out that they heard. So this could be a test balloon. Who knows? This is it's not a story. This is the information said we heard.
Oh, it's a rumor.
Yeah, OpenAI has not confirmed it, but because it's from the information, it's not something that's out of the realm of not happening. It could be a trial balloon. It could be a lot of things.
Absolutely. And generally, they're interviewing people that are, quote, familiar with the matter.
Yeah. The information, if it comes from them, yeah, I kind of go like, yeah, this is some internal stuff that they've heard. And it may be that it got out, or it may be that ChatGPT said, hey, let me put a bug in your ear just to see how people react.
Would any of you use it?
I would.
I mean, because for me, I'm already using it. I'm like,
the browser, I would use the browser because, and then the other side of this is, like I said, Google has dropped the ball. There's a lot of things going on with Google. There's Google hate also. Also, Google is doing the ad thing. There's a lot of things going on with Google, and there are people out there that don't like it.
Okay, so this, you know what it is? It just dawned on me. We're not talking search. We're talking
a
browser like Chrome.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Thinking about making its own browser instead of me opening Chrome, which has its issues and its things, and people aren't liking it. It's just the circle of life. The browser that people loved before was Netscape Navigator. Anybody remember that?
I do.
Where is it?
Oh, it's gone.
So, you know, Mac comes with Safari. Anybody using Safari? I mean, I do use it a little bit, but you know, I'm opening Chrome.
Because there's so many things that don't work well with Safari.
Right.
So, for example, this program right here
doesn't work
with Safari.
Right.
So, but it works with Safari on the iPad, which is dumb to me. I don't understand that.
But see, you also have to realize that we're invested in tech. We follow the news. We tinker, and the average person does not. So if ChatGPT becomes a brand, I'm going to go with the brand. And I think this is a test balloon of let's see.
Right, because there are some other browsers out there. What is the one? Arc. The Arc browser.
Arc, I was like, okay, Brave, there's Opera. Oh, not Opera. Opera. There's
it just needs to not be complicated. Don't complicate stuff. Just give me a browser that works my stuff.
See, that's what I'm saying. If you're already into that world, a browser is another thing. Hey, I'm going to use that because I'm unhappy with this. So if they do it right, and I go over and use it, then I might move over from Chrome world to ChatGPT world. It's all up in the air. Everything's testing, but I can see that they are going into a branding path. That's what they're doing because they've got the voice. So the next thing I have about OpenAI, let's bring that up, that they have an advanced voice mode on the web. Now remember, the app had the voice mode where you could talk to it like the movie Her, and then it would respond with a voice. They're bringing that to the web version. So they're putting the advanced mode feature to the web, letting users talk to the AI chatbot right from the browser. It's rolling out to Chat GPT Plus this week. Chat GPT Plus enterprise teams or EDU subscribers. And this will allow for natural real-time conversations between users and Chat GPT. The chatbot is able to understand and respond to nonverbal clues, including things like your talking speed. The chatbot can also respond with emotion. So there'll be a voice icon in the box. When you go to Chat GPT to type in stuff, there'll be a voice icon there. You click that, and then you start a voice conversation. It goes to another screen with a blue orb in the center. I think the app does that. When you go into voice, it goes into a different screen where it's like either talks or pulsates or something. Because I don't really use it that much. But this is what they're going to do with it on the web. So there'll be 9 output voices which have its own tone and character. And they're saying that that OpenAI will roll this out to free users in the coming weeks. And there will also be a limit. Users on a Plus and Team subscription are subject to a limit each day when using advanced voice mode. Daily limits or might be 15. They're saying it might be 15 minutes limit. They're saying it may change. So that wasn't really clear about, but there'll be a limit. It's not like you can use it over and over and over and over and over. There's going to be a limit.
Right, like how they limit it now, where you get so many interactions.
Right.
With
so they're going to limit that, but they're going to bring the voice where you actually talk to it on your computer like you do on the app.
Barb has a couple of comments. She says, I use Chat GPT versus Google. I believe she means Google search more these days. So a browser would be fine with her. And then she said, I used the Mozilla browser before it became Netscape. And yes, I have that in my Chat GPT now.
There you go. So see, that's what I'm saying. They're turning it into meta world. Like I always say about meta world, like all of the meta products would come. Remember, because they were all separate. And I said that they were going to put it into one thing, and they've done that. So all of the things that I see is they want to make ChatGPT a brand, like Meta. So it'll be ChatGPT, the world of this, that, and the other. And more things will come because it's wide open like that. And they do that because they see an opening in market share, because this should have been Google. Google should have been number one with the AI and the this and that, but they dropped the ball when it came out. They're trying to catch up with Gemini, but it's not going as well as they want it to go. And I've seen some tech journalists talk about that this should have been Google's ball, and they don't have it. ChatGPT has the ball. So they're going to run with it. And this browser may become a thing, or some other products. But they're not going to stop with just you go to chatgpt.com. They're not going to stop there. That's the beginning, not the end. So, yeah. So thank you, Barb, for those comments. Thank you very much. All right. So that's OpenAI. Let's take a look at YouTube. YouTube Shorts has a dream screen feature that generates AI video backgrounds. So they have it's for shorts that lets you create AI generated video backgrounds. They're saying up to now, Dream Screen could only create image backgrounds. Now they're going into video backgrounds, and they're saying this is because Google has a video generation model called VEO, which can create 1080p video clips in various cinematic styles. Users can now use the feature to turn text prompts into AI video backgrounds. You have to go into the Shorts camera, tap the green screen icon, and then select Dream Screen. From there, you type in a prompt, and then you go in and pick different things, and then you click Create. And then it makes a series of video backgrounds that you choose. Once you select an AI video background, you can record a video with it behind you. Okay, so this is what they're doing. So they're putting in AI video backgrounds where you like a green screen kind of effect, but it's video. And what do we think of that? Excited? Not? No? Don't care?
I don't use the
shorts, the camera,
the backgrounds.
So they want to, instead of you picking up the camera and talking like my background, I could just pick it up, make a background, and I would have a different background, but it would be me talking.
Yes, but that whole background thing, if the lighting is not right, then people are clipped in and out, and it just it's gonna look better.
It's not like a green screen. It's better than that. It's an actual AI background where there's no that green screen thing when you move. It's not that. It's not that. So they're saying this is going to give creators the ability to generate 6 seconds long standalone video clips for shorts using Dream Screen. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. That's what YouTube is doing. Now let's see, we got a couple more and then we're done. Let's talk about Meta World, Instagram. They have a lot of things going on. Instagram wants to make it easier to remove inactive profiles from your audience. That means that when you go to look at your profiles, it'll show you your inactive profiles among your followers, and it'll be an easy way to remove them if you want to. Inactive. So people that are your followers and they're not active, or for whatever reason you want to clear it up and clean that up, you can. There's an easy way to remove these inactive accounts. Also, Instagram is moving stories highlights to their own tab. Now I wanted to look at that. Let me look at it real quick because I didn't see it. So they put out a message that says highlights are moving to your profile grid. Your highlights have moved into their own tab on your profile. They'll also appear on your main grid. Get ready for the change by reviewing your highlights and deciding where this should appear. You can edit your profile to make changes later or remove highlights from your main grid. Now let me go in and see. There should be a pop-up message that says that. Well, I don't see it.
Oh, well, I'll give a couple of comments while you're looking.
Go ahead.
Mark says, I want to see the biz chicks speak while they're flying through space. Okay. Mark, thank you for that. And then Barb says, removing inactive accounts on Instagram.
Yeah, that follow you, that they're inactive. Like, because I think if you go in there now, it'll show you like you're active and the ones that you interact with most and the ones that you don't. And then there's an easy way to like delete them. So they're making it easier to do that. There's so many settings. For you
to do it, not for them to do it. Okay.
No, you. There's so many settings in Instagram. There's a setting in here where you go and it shows you your followers and it shows you it says these are the ones you interact with the most and these are the ones you interact with the least. And so I think they're putting it there. And they're going to put a button that says, okay, delete all of these people that you don't interact with at all. Just remove them from your following.
So for the people who think, oh, I have to have these followers, they're not going to want to delete them.
Yeah, they're not focusing on that. So I don't see this thing about the story highlights moving to their own tab. So there'll probably be a pop-up. Go ahead.
It might need, you have to go out and go back in. And update the app or something for it to switch.
So they're moving story highlights to their own tab on your profile instead of the bubble that's under because the highlights are little circles of bubbles on your profile. They're moving the little circles away and it's going to be a tab. Let's see. There's a quote. Instagram CEO says, we're trying to figure out a way to improve the profile and get more of the content above the fold and simplify it. You will still have control. You can still pin things. There'll be a dedicated highlights tab, but we don't need to have pogs. I don't know what that is. That's an internal word. and squares and have it all be complicated and pushing everything down. So that pogs must be an internal word for the little things on your profile. She didn't explain it.
Barb says, geez, I have not been consistent on Instagram. Logged in. We're still following each other. Don't give up on me. I've not been well.
Sorry to hear that. Don't worry about it, Barb. You can, Instagram is one of those things you can jump back in and swim and any old time and say, hey, I'm here. So that's the good thing about it. You don't have to worry about the posting. I'm not posting, but you can come back and just post something and it'll get traction. All right, so that's Instagram. Let me go to, I'm gonna save Threads for last. So Facebook is doing Messenger. Facebook Messenger gets HD, high definition video calls, AI backgrounds. Here we go again with AI backgrounds. So they are adding HD video calls and voice isolation. You enable it on the call setting menus. HD calls are now the default for calls placed over Wi-Fi. And let's see what else they're saying. You can also leave audio or video voice messages when contacts aren't available, like a digital voicemail. There's also new Siri integrations on iOS. You can ask Siri to help make calls and messages. You say that word and then it will do what you wanted to do. And also they're launching AI backgrounds for video calls. They said it was previewed earlier this year. So Meta says you'll be able to create AI generated backgrounds by tapping the effects icon in the sidebar during Messenger video calls and selecting backgrounds. All right, so that is what's going on with Facebook. And let me see. Oh, there's one more from Instagram. I didn't have this in the right spot. So Instagram is testing letting you reset your recommendations algorithm. I did see a lot of talk about that. You can reset your recommendations, and your recommendations from Instagram, which means when you go into Instagram and you see the feed and you see suggested for you or whatever, it's based on what you type in your search feed, which is it should be the magnifying icon. Yep. I think they call this an Explore tab. It doesn't say Explore tab. It's the magnifying glass at the bottom. So whatever you type in there to search for people on Instagram, that's how you get recommendations. So now Instagram is saying, okay, they're testing, letting you reset that, because if you search for things that, and especially if you're running a business and you have a business, Instagram, and you want to see certain things, but you're seeing personal stuff because you search for people or personal things or interests that have nothing to do with your business, you get recommendations based on what you search. So Instagram is saying, we're going to let you reset this algorithm and then you can start fresh. That's really what it is. You can retrain the algorithm about the content you like across your Explore page. Explore page is the magnifying glass. So it affects your Explore page, home feed, and Reels tab. Okay, so that is a good thing. Now Threads. Now Threads has one or two things that came out today we need to talk about, and they let me see which one is. Okay, I want to say that one. So Threads is expanding custom keyword-based feed. Now, what's good about this is, again, it's based on search. So if you go to Threads app and you search for something, again, the search should be the little magnifying glass. Yes. And if you go to search right now, it shows you trending, like the top 5 things. I see something about Winter Snow Fun, Kiki Palmer, Jaleel White, Giants. The Giants did something. All right. So when I go in here, and say I search for, okay, yeah, I've got one. When I go into search, it shows me the recent, which was Tech Meme, which is a website. I also searched for some people, like I searched for Isaac Haynes. I did a Kyle Griffin, which he's a journalist. So if I go in here and I say the Tech Meme, because I wanted to follow the account, I could tap that and then it's going to show me the search tab for everything that mentions that keyword. But if I want to save this search instead of going through all those steps, there's the 3 dots on the top right. It says create new feed. That's what this custom feed is. So if it's something that you search for a lot, but say you don't want to follow all of the people or the, whatever that interest is, you could turn it into a custom feed. Now, what happens when you do that? If you close the app and come back in, that feed that you get, the main feed. And if you pull down, you get to see all your feeds. It's for you, following, and then I have the tech meme. So the more custom searches that I save with the 3 dots on the top right as a custom feed, I get to see them. I have to remember to pull. It's called the spring thing. When you pull that down and it springs, it will show me all the different feeds. It will not show me the feed automatically. I have to pull down. Does everybody get that?
Okay.
This is really, you search for something you like and you want to pin it and you want to see it all the time without having to go and type the word and search and this and that. And then you want to see the custom feed, you go in and you pull down on the screen. You just pull down with your thumb, your finger, whatever, and that little icon will spring around, and then it shows you the feeds for you, following, and the thing that you search for. And I believe you can do more than one. I'm not sure the limit.
Okay.
It says not all Threads users have access yet, but those that do, you create a custom. Oh yeah, I just said entering your search term, tapping the 3 dot, select and create create new feed. You can also add specific profiles to your custom feed by visiting the profile that you want to add, then tapping the 3 dots. So again, this is somebody, if you like, I follow Gary Vaynerchuk everywhere. So if I wanted to make him a custom feed because I want to see his stuff real quick without having to look at my For You or my following, I want to see his posts, I can make him, I probably will. I will make him a custom feed. And the next time I come in, I want to see, well, what is he talking about? Because he posts a lot. So I can come into the main feed and pull down on the screen, and then that feed will be there, and you tap it, and then you see. It's like a list, thing where you get to see the keyword or the profile. You can pick one profile if you want. This will also work on the desktop, I believe. If you use Threads through the browser, you could do it there also. You'll see.
Okay, this is all in Threads. Let me go
this
there.
is the Threads app.
Okay, so let me go to Threads and do that.
And while you do that, let me tell you what else Threads is doing. Threads is testing an AI-powered summary of the trending topic. So when you go to the search function, which is the magnifying glass on the bottom, and you tap it, it says search at the top, and then it shows you the top 5 trending topics. And I think it's based on like what you interact with. Now, I had something about the New York Jets. Who was it? I don't think I've ever searched for anything football related on here, but it may have pulled it up because I'm in New York. I don't know how these trending topics are done, but you see the first 5. So now they're saying there's going to be AI summaries of what people are discussing in the app's trending now section.
Okay. Whoa. Okay, so the trending now section is where?
When you hit search.
Okay, down at the bottom.
Yeah, and then it says search, and then it says trending.
Got it.
Yeah, so it's going to be based on, I'm not sure. Now, in X, you could change the trending topics to your, like, I would change it to New York City, or I can change it to the United States. I could change it to worldwide. I could change it to different countries. I'm not sure how they're doing it in Threads because that information wasn't shared. So you're going to see different things in the trending section. Is 5 list items, but they're saying today that they are going to make AI-powered summaries of the topics, and I'm assuming it's to give you an explanation of what the trending topic is about. They have not said, they have not given a lot of details because this is a test. So the CEO of Instagram, and I guess he's the CEO of Threads also. He says these additions are long overdue improvements to search and trending now on Threads. Now, Meta has done a lot of stuff this week because of the blue. Remember, we talked about Blue Sky and how Blue Sky is, a lot of use, a lot of talk, the hot topic du jour of the week. And so Meta is like, well, let's get in there and let's throw some things in there because we want people to stay on Threads. So this is a couple of the things. Also, there was a complaint right after the election or during the election that people were going to search and seeing the trending and also their feed that they were getting old information, like 2-day old. It wasn't current. So Threads needs to fix their trending topics. It doesn't work as great as it did on X. So Threads, Twitter had a lot of great things going for it. Barb says, oh, okay, we saw that. Oh, Carlos is here.
Hey, Carlos.
Carlos says, I'm on that platform. Oh, Threads, Blue Sky.
Which platform, Carlos?
Yeah, let me know. Okay, so that's what and there's one more, which I posted on my stories today because this is making me mad. And it's due to here's come Blue Sky, and now Meta is trying to redecorate, and they're breaking things, and I'm like, don't break things that work. So now Threads is going to adjust the algorithm to show you more content from accounts you follow. What's so bad about that? Much for business owners. There's much wrong with that. There's a ton wrong with that. So because there was complaints about the algorithm, now they're trying to quickly go in there and give you, when you go on your feed, give you more content from accounts you follow. How it works before they did this is that, and this was one of the complaints, but I was like, it's a good thing for business owners. When you went into Threads, into the main feed, you saw posts from people you didn't follow. There's a good and a bad to that. But I was saying that you have to train your algorithm by liking things, and then you would see stuff. But now for business owners, you're not going to be able to be seen by people who don't follow you. What does this sound like? This sounds like chronological on Instagram, which is the thing that people want on Instagram. But yes, they give it to you on Threads, which I'm like, I don't want it on Threads. Threads was great the way it was. Why are you breaking it? For business owners. So now your posts are not going to be seen unless people follow you. I don't like it. So here's the quote. We are relaunching ranking to prioritize content from people you don't follow, which will mean less recommended content from accounts you don't follow and more posts from the accounts you do starting today. He says that creators might see their unconnected reach dip. For you creators out there, you should see unconnected reach go down and connected reach go up. This is definitely a work in progress. Balancing the ability to reach followers and overall engagement is tricky. Thanks for your patience and keep the feedback coming. No thanks, Adam. No, this is not good. So I put this on my stories because I don't like that. So you understand what that is saying about Threads. Threads was a place for discoverability because you could see posts from people you didn't follow. Now they're changing it to you only see posts from people you follow. Well, if you're going on for business, you want new people, fresh eyes. They're not going to do that anymore.
So they've broken it.
They've broken it because, we got to catch up with Blue Sky. And so I've seen a lot of business and people that I follow on Threads that talk about business and have, e-commerce stuff. And they all mad and telling him no, because this is how we're not going to be discovered anymore. So there's a lot of unhappy people, a lot of business owners that were unhappy under that post because he posted that on Threads.
I think that, again, perhaps if you're not using it for business purposes, then that's fine for you. But for people who are relying, which you shouldn't, but relying on it for business purposes, it's problematic that you are only connecting with the people you already know. It's an echo chamber.
Right.
Those are
And
not your
see-
customers.
And see, these, but see, what he's giving us on Threads is what they want on Instagram. They want all my followers to see. Give it to them on Instagram. Why are you breaking it on Threads? And it's because there was complaints about the way the algorithm works.
One day he's just going to come out and say, "Don't tell me what to do."
So now there's more work involved if you're a business owner. If you're a creator and you got your people from Instagram coming over, you're happy because they're going to see your stuff. So that's it.
Very interesting. Sometimes people don't know when to leave well enough alone. Let us get in there, and we were enjoying Threads the way it was.
It was working. It's because Threads, you have to have conversations with people. You have to talk to people and like their stuff and say, "Hey, me too." Because we talked about this last week. I said I've seen all of Dr. Taji's responses to people that I didn't follow. And I'm like, that's good because then it exposes me to people that I don't follow. But now all of that's gone away. So the thing that people wanted on Instagram, he says it's not on Instagram, it's on Threads, which makes no sense. But here you go.
But part of the thing too with Threads is that people were looking to make these new connections in the exodus from X, etc.
Yes.
And so honestly, that's counterproductive to why are people their own worst enemies? Maybe that's a
so all the wonderful women that saw their wonderful posts, I'm not going to see them anymore unless I remember them and go search for them. And I was like, it was good the way it was. Why give it to, if they're complaining on Instagram, give it to them over there. Barb says Facebook feeds are coughing up old content as well. I got from 2014. Wow, you got a post from 2014. Then she says, during this live, I got a notification on Instagram and Facebook that their terms are changing in January 1st, 2025. Yep, they're making changes. They're trying to get it all in between the end of the year before they're going into holiday mode. So they won't have, people taking breaks, so they won't be able to do these things. So they're doing it now. I just was like, they're not gonna change it, but I said
he doesn't care. They don't care.
Yeah, they don't care because they're like, hey, you're a business, you should run ads. That's their motto.
I don't want to run ads to my friends.
I don't want to. I like Threads.
So Threads was the place where I was going to use to talk to people, look up stuff, kind of like look at photographs and read articles and
from
just
people and things and discoverability of being exposed to people that you weren't following.
Right. And that's how I followed a lot of people on Threads, because I saw something I'm like, oh, that's an interesting point.
Not anymore.
And okay. Instagram is too noisy. It's very noisy over there, and there's too much stuff going on. That's like going to Walmart. I was like, I can't be here.
Oh boy.
So he's done it. People have complained. So it's like they can't get it right. Like you trying to help the people that didn't understand how Threads algorithm work. I understood how it worked. That means you had to be in real life. You have to talk to people like you're meeting them at a party. Hey, how are you? I do that, and you have a conversation. Hey, let's exchange numbers. Let me have your business card. Let me yeah. All of that's gone because you're only going to see things from people that you follow. But if you don't know about it, you can't follow it. See the point?
That's like with Blue Sky. If I didn't see you guys today, I would have to search for TJ, search for Dr. Tachi, search for Barb, search for Mark in order to see somebody over there.
Who's going to do that? Exactly. You got it right on the head.
There's nobody coming to see you, Otis.
And you don't, it was like you walk in Blue Sky and you're like,
Hello?
Okay, where do I
Who's at the
go?
party? The party's in another room, but nobody told you where to go. It was like this. You went to the big mansion party, and there's like 100 rooms, and you go there, and there's no butler to say, "Hey, go to room 3. The party's over there." There's nobody, so you're like, "Hey, but where's everybody?" There you go. And that's your social media news and update for this week.
Okay. Dr. Tachi, you have the floor.
Okay, well, we have a few things going on. There's quite a bit going on. So I'm going to start with, yeah, I hate politics, but I'm going to talk about media news that's related to it. So there's no way I can avoid it. So let's talk about, I don't know if you all watch Morning Joe at all, which is a show on MSNBC.
I know about it. You're going to talk about that thing.
The thing, yes. So Morning Joe is a morning news show that on MSNBC, they have suffered some ratings losses. They're calling it, the Independent calls it a ratings nosedive, after they met with the person that is now elected to be the next president of the United States. My, that was long, at Mar-a-Lago. So they revealed this during their show on Monday, and they said that they traveled to Mar-a-Lago last Friday to, quote, restart communications with the president-elect before he takes office, and this would mark their first face-to-face meeting in 7 years. So the show's hosts are Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski, and they're facing backlash for this. They both have been highly critical of him. And so the announcement was shocking, and it also was met with criticism from their fellow MSNBC colleagues, also other media pundits, and political figures. Now, data from Nielsen reveals that it probably also hurt the show's ratings.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So usually they garner viewers hour over hour, right? So there are always new people joining, according to Media 8.
Right.
And so Nielsen data shows that 56 minutes after the hosts began explaining their trip to Mar-a-Lago, viewing figures began to tumble. So between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m., they had fallen 17% from 839,000 to 694,000.
Ooh.
Yeah. And among the 25 to 54-year-old age group, viewing figures plummeted by 38%.
Wow.
During the 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. hour, they briefly bounced back to 775 viewers, but from 9 a.m. to 10, the numbers dropped slightly again to 770,000.
Well,
so
can I
channel
say
on
real
sorry,
quick?
Go ahead.
So, because I'm on social media, I'm looking at the messages. There were a lot of people that were really angry, and they were angry.
This is not, so what people have to realize is this is not like any normal other elect. This is different.
Mm-hmm.
And so backlash is going to be times 75.
Yep.
With everything here, because this is probably the most contentious election that has ever taken place. And so, of course, people were going to do this. But what did they do? So MSNBC still has an X channel, but okay. So the program's X channel for the Morning Joe, they had to turn off all the comments.
You think?
Yeah.
People were mad. These people were mad.
So that's why they turned off the comments. And they've been facing backlash from everywhere, not just social media, but Jon Stewart on The Daily Show called them out for meeting him at Mar-a-Lago after recently comparing him to Adolf Hitler. The former presidential rival Nikki Haley also described it as a stunt to boost her MSNBC's ratings and added that, quote, they realized they needed him for their survival. Now,
Well,
no,
can I
go
say
ahead, go ahead.
real quick that
Mhm.
these two were friendly with 45 in the beginning. So I that's what I say I wasn't really shocked, but these people are mad because they thought, based on, I guess, watching the TV, watching them and what they were saying, and oh yeah. I was like, they were, before all of, I think, 2016, they were all friendly with him.
Well, exact. But then, if we remember, and here's the thing, he has not been a friend to the press at
Nope.
all.
Nope.
He's been downright terrible to the press because he only wants what good press has
Yeah.
to say about him. He
To
only
look
wants
good.
good press,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
And so anyone who's critical of him, he hates instantly. This
Yep.
is not conjecture. This is truth. We've seen this happen over and
Fact.
over live. And
Fact.
so what starts to happen, even people that were friends, remember before he was on this stupid birther thing and the Tea Party thing, but he wasn't really, in people's eyes, a serious contender for anything political. So people, yeah, they may have been friendly with him before because he's just this kooky guy who thinks he's a millionaire, a multimillionaire, who treats people badly, who's the head of and he had some favor because, remember, The Apprentice.
Yeah.
People thought they were getting a reality star and they were so excited. So that's what I think, kind of led to this. So, of course, now they have it because since he's shown he has not been a friend to the press, he is not about freedom of the press. He only is with press that makes him look good and favorable. Which is why there's only one news outlet that he favors for the most part, right? One major news outlet that he favors for the most part.
Yeah.
Most people, most journalists and news people see, okay, this person is not our friend. He's not interested in making our jobs easier. And neither he nor his regime is interested in being transparent about what's going on. So that's where that came from. So they haven't really sat with him in 7 years. Now, I'm not saying behind the scenes nothing went on or whatever, because if I am not mistaken, Joe Scarborough is a Republican.
Yeah, he is.
Exactly. So, but that doesn't mean every Republican is for whatever. I'm not saying that.
There's some that aren't for him and some that are, and some,
Exactly. So, but it's in a perfect world, it is good to have a mix of different sides and different opinions so that you can get a complete picture of what everybody is feeling and what they understand to be true.
Right.
So, but you can't do all that this year. I'm sorry. The time to sit down and reason with people has passed because we're in what people would call very dire straits now. And so that's why there was such extreme backlash. Extreme backlash. It's tantamount to if when Fidel Castro was alive, if you had this type of thing and then people say, well, we're going to sit with Fidel Castro. That's what people are feeling it is like, and it is tantamount to that. So
agree.
Yeah, so this is very interesting. Go ahead.
Well, what I was gonna say is, because I used to watch Morning Joe years ago. I mean, like I said, 2016. I all of this stuff I don't watch it. I get it from social media. You go on Twitter, you saw a clip. You go here, you see a clip. So I put it together. But they, it's more of what they're doing is they have to curry favor because they're TV personalities or journalists or whatever you want to call. What are they calling themselves? The ratings are going down. They need to curry favor because they want to keep their job and they want their show to have good ratings and have advertisers. Otherwise, they're going to be out of a job. And they were friendly with him before. And for some reason, I don't know what that period, they were like, yeah, we're going to talk about it's all about currying favor because they want ratings. They do a lot of things for ratings. So this is one of the things. Now they're on the other side of, oh, well, the coin has flipped. We want to curry favor. We want our, show to survive. We want ratings. We want people to watch. So this is what they're doing. And the people that are upset, I'm like, you didn't know that they were this before, or that Joe Scarborough is Republican. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that you didn't know all these things before, and now you're upset. And again, you cannot watch That's cool
You
too.
you could not watch. Was if you ask me, I don't know if that was a great move because why
Was
are you well, so the whole thing is you're trying to get in good graces and favor and set
Yep.
things right
Mm-hmm.
because obviously they're going to have to be reporting on this. But
Yep.
again, when you keep kowtowing to people who try to remove freedom of the press, this is the problem.
Yeah.
Don't be
What are you
trying to be
saying?
friends and stuff with him
Where are you
now.
saying? But see, what I'm saying is they were friends before 26. They were
I don't know if they
they
were
were
friends, but they
we're
were,
not
I'm sure,
friends, but I mean
friendly.
they I think they went to Mar-a-Lago. They went out and hung out for whatever reason. It was, I know, the Curry favor. Like, we want to be, whichever way the wind is blowing, because we want to keep our show afloat. So that's the way I see it. Like, they want, they're like, hey, we don't want to get axed. We don't want our show to go. We want to, we don't know what he's gonna do. So let's go over and kiss the ring and all that stuff. And then people that are mad that watched it when, the last 4 years when they had a different song, or whatever they're saying, you listened to the song and thought, yeah, they sound like, they're
but see, but now I can't believe what you say. This is the problem.
Exactly.
I can't believe what you say, because why are you going? It is one thing to go and meet with presidents as part of the White House press pool, or any of it. It's one thing to have a friendly relationship, because most presidents know the White House correspondents. They know who these people are because they've been reporting for years. So it's one thing to do that. It's another thing to go to a man's private residence and try this. No.
They've done that. What I'm saying is that part, they've done that before, and they've talked about it, and then something happened.
That's not right either.
45 got mad with them and started talking about Mika, and he said all kind of things about her and him, and that's what I'm saying. It's like that. It's like they're taking it beyond the journalists who have to report on the president. They took it beyond that because they want to curry favor and they want to keep their jobs and suck ups.
Well, it's arguable whether or not they're actual real journalists.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What do we call them? Are they talking heads? Or are they?
Well, people will call them pundits.
Pundits. Okay.
So I guess you could call them political pundits. Yeah. I don't know that they're strategists or know enough beyond that. But Barbara has this thing. What do you think of citizen journalism? Citizen journalism that is being pushed heavily now, on X, due to the ratings of NBC and CNBC. If you want to know personally, I would not trust X as far as you can throw it. What has happened? You obviously do still have some journalists that are over there, because I think there are people that are concerned about, just like Terry was talking about, people taking their name and doing things, so they're maintaining a presence.
Yeah.
But I think journalists are still really looking for some place to go. They are not set on Threads. They're not set on Blue Sky. They're all over there, but the level of engagement is different. There's going to be
They're hedging their bets.
Yeah, and there's going to be an adjustment period to get used to these new things, because
and I go over there to, I keep my eye. I want to see, well, what's the chatter about this and that and the other, but
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I would. It's already been shown that there are people on X that there's still some great people that are over there, but because of the ownership of the platform, because of the ownership's agenda on that platform as well, that kind of makes things very suspicious. And again, we've seen what's happened to people. Okay, just look at Don Lemon, for example, and he had a deal with X and what was supposed to happen. That deal went away quickly the moment he had an interview that Musk did not like.
Crashed and burned.
So that tells me that unless the news is favorable, at any time, Musk or any of the henchmen could come in and take things down. So that makes me question the quality and value of anything that would be reported on X at this point. I mean,
Right.
I guess you could really say that with a lot of platforms, but particularly this, because it's been shown where the agenda is. So I wouldn't trust it. So we're talking about now citizen journalists, and I know you were talking about that.
Right.
Even less so. Citizen journalism is great because citizen journalists can get into places that regular journalists don't have the time to do.
Right.
But there's also the thing with training. There are many citizen journalists, they're not properly trained and journalistically trained. So they don't know how to sometimes properly get the story. They don't properly know how
Or
to
the
vet out
questions, get
people.
the
They don't
questions
do
right, and
right. So
Yeah.
they could be asking questions that are nonsensical or
Right.
asking questions that don't get the heart of it, and you still end up looking for other sources. And then again, if you're there doing reporting on X, if I'm already questioning the platform, I may question you because you're not even a bona fide journalist. You're a citizen reporting. So I love citizen journalism. On X, I'd be careful.
Yeah. So
And Barb has a comment. She says, I'm going to write an article on X about citizen journalism. As I was involved with CNN, I report citizen journalism
and
project.
see what I'm
Well,
gonna say about
of course,
that.
I would believe.
Right. But see, the thing about the CNN I report citizen, I'm pretty sure that they have got CNN have guidelines for
Right.
accepting projects, whereas we're in a place where everybody got a mic. Everybody, got something to say with their mic, but should you listen to it?
Exactly. So, Barbara, obviously, the people that are in that cohort, in that program, like Terry said, there are standards, there are guidelines, there are ways to do things. We're not saying this citizen journalism in general. I'm talking about somebody who picks up a mic, someone who picks up a camera and reports, because by definition that is a citizen journalist. But not everyone is a responsible citizen journalism.
They're not asking the right questions. They're not framing it correctly. They're just all over the place, and that's not a good thing. But the CNN I report part, they have rules and guidelines and standards of practices that say, okay, in order to accept the story, it has to be this, and it, and then that you can kind of go with. But on, like Dr. Chachi said, on the other hand, you got the people with a mic, and I got a mic and a phone.
Well, and congrats on that, Barb. I think that's amazing, and I can't wait to read it. So, I think the thing that will strengthen that is, I don't know what the parameters are, but I would also see where else I can get these things, where else I could post these things. I don't know if you have parameters over on where you have to post, but I would have them on several different platforms, because if it's just X, then it's like, okay, why is it just X? But definitely, if you can, I would put them on several different platforms, cross-platform, make people aware. You definitely need, I'm sure you have, but if you haven't, you definitely need to be on panels and talking about this, because that just gives credibility to you as a citizen journalist and now journalist.
And see, I was going to say that this is why Substack is the thing. And like a lot of journalists are on Substack, because they can have their own publication that's independent of all what's going on. And if they're already a trusted reporter, or they've got a brand where they have some level of trust, they can take that group of people that's following them and say, hey, we're leaving X, we're leaving Facebook, wherever you're leaving, and I'm going to Substack, and here it is for free, and then there's a page, whatever they want to do with it. But they're taking their band of their community with them and doing the thing that they've always done, which is the quality reporting. So
Wow. So no, that's great. We're gonna move on, because I know we've had quite a thing.
Yeah, I had enough of politics.
I really do not like politics, so I'm like, I can do without it. But
and I'm saying, not even watching any TV, I'm getting enough of it from online. So
absolutely. So let's look at, I have a lot of things here. Okay, do I want to okay, well, so let me talk about this really quickly, since we're on the journalism thing. So the person elected as president has now told Republicans to, quote, kill the Reporter Shield bill that was passed unanimously by the House. And if you don't know about the bill, it's called the Press Act. And it would actually codify protections against federal investigators seizing reporters' records, right? So it's now less likely that this legislation will clear the Senate before this current session ends. So I just wanted to make a point of letting you all know that, since we were on that as well. So here it is. They say the Press Act protects conservative and independent journalists just as much as it does anyone in the mainstream press. Democratic administrations abused their powers to spy on journalists many times. The Bipartisan Press Act will stop government overreach and protect the First Amendment once and for all. This was by, what's his name? Tim. I can't remember his first name, but in any case, just wanted to put that forward, and we shall see what happens with that. Okay, now Netflix and Meta are sued over the anti-competitive streaming agreement that led to the end of Facebook Watch. So there's a lawsuit abounding, and it's arguing that the deal between Reed Hastings and Mark Zuckerberg, quote, decreased consumer choices while at the same time increased consumer costs.
Okay, let me get this straight.
Uh-huh.
Who is suing who?
Meta and Netflix are being sued, saying that it was anti-competitive, their streaming, and that this led to the end of Facebook Watch.
Who's bringing this suit?
Okay, so it's a class action lawsuit. It's accusing Meta of rolling back its now closed Facebook Watch streaming video service to give Netflix a clear path as part of a deal to split like proceeds from the new digital landscape. Does that make sense now?
So it's class action of people. Just
people, yes.
Yeah, a group of
So
people.
both Meta and Netflix are being sued. They're being accused of shutting down. So they said Meta shut down Facebook Watch so that Netflix could have a clear path, and then they would split the money. Does that make sense?
This sounds like somebody been at the bar too long.
They have been sitting, drinking, telling their problems to the bartender, and nobody told them to go home or, hey, I think you've had enough.
See this.
Okay,
Facebook Watch wasn't working anyway.
It really wasn't. Remember how you used to have to apply, and they were making you jump through hoops for that stupidness. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
So
who's the lawyer who agreed to do this?
That's my point. That any kind of lawsuit can go through any frivolous. Where's the checks and balances to say, hey, you're right.
Well, it's supposed to be the hill, but every time these people go up there, they just say, oh, you, and never do anything about it. They've been up there. Auntie, how many times has Zuckerberg been up there? He does things that nobody does anything about it. Exactly. So here's the thing. So this was filed in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Illinois by 2 residents of the state and Netflix subscribers, right? And they said in documents unsealed from an earlier lawsuit against Meta, it shows that the 2 companies agreed to collude shortly after Facebook, quote, began to directly compete against Netflix in the market for video streaming services by launching Watch, which was a video streaming service program, right? And it offered consumers the same kind of TV-like shows that were Netflix's bread and butter. Okay.
Really?
Netflix CEO Reed Hastings was on Facebook's board of directors at the time. And the suit alleges that conversations with Facebook, which is now called Meta, with Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, quote, ultimately led to a conspiracy against the public when Zuckerberg and Hastings allocated markets by agreeing that Facebook would cede the video streaming market to Netflix by hobbling the Watch platform. In exchange, Netflix would keep funneling its customers' data and advertising spend to Facebook. Now, does this make sense to you all?
No. These people they are now on drugs and drinking.
Wow. Oh, and Barbara, thank you for putting up the Press Act.
Thank you, Barbara.
For the Press Act. Thank you.
And there's two people from Illinois
that
with
are
a Netflix
alleging
account.
This. Yes. So, but here's the thing: the average person probably would not know this because, for example, I know a lot, but I didn't realize that Reed Hastings was on Facebook's board of directors. I did not.
That's
well, I didn't. Okay.
Wow. So that right there is kind of problematic, right? It shouldn't be, but it is when you look at the fact it's like, okay, I see you over there with your Facebook Watch. You're trying to compete with us. Now, here, let's make a deal. You get rid of Facebook Watch, and we promise you to funnel our customers' data to you so you have all of that. It's quid pro quo. This for that. I'm like, how is this not illegal? And how did you all think that this was okay to do? The silence.
I mean, but they're alleging this. So has it actually happened? Can they prove it? Because they're just being sued at this point.
They are just being sued at this point. But here's the thing. Somebody must have something. And here's the thing. I'm not saying that this is 100% true, but I have a feeling something is there to be able to. So yeah, it's just an allegation at this point. It's a lawsuit with these allegations at this point, but I'm pretty sure there is something somewhere to show that this could possibly be the case. So it will be interesting to see this. So we don't know, that's why I'm saying possible. We don't know. But again, if you ask the public to say, do you think they did this? I'm quite sure a lot of people in the public would say yes, because there has been illicit behavior before. Have we forgotten about Cambridge Analytica? They have a history with data. They have a history with selling and using other people's data, and they just brought their big brother Netflix in on the act with this one, allegedly, right?
Yep.
Okay, so yes, Barbara, it will be very interesting to see what happens with it. I'm going to be following this one closely. So again,
Google alert.
Yeah, exactly. I said I do have a Google alert set up, but I think I may need to make it a little more specific. So yeah, this is the thing. This is an antitrust case, right? Because now you are cutting down on the competition. And the fact that you actually say, hey, if you do this, we'll do that. No, you can't. Quid pro quo. You can't do that. I'm not even an attorney and I know this.
Wow.
Okay, so that's what's happening over there with Netflix. They're going to be doing things. Also, let's take a look at the FCC. FCC Chairwoman Jessica Rosenworcel is going to leave the agency on January 20th when the new president takes office. She was the first woman to serve as permanent FCC chair, and she's going to leave on the day of inauguration. And this announcement came actually this morning after the newly elected announced that a fellow commissioner, Republican Brendan Carr would serve as the FCC chairman in the new administration. And Rosenworcel's exit will allow the new president to appoint a third commissioner, giving Republicans a 3-2 majority. So her 5-year term on the commission was actually set to expire on June 30th. And she has served on the commission since 2012. Very interesting. Again, we won't go into all of this, but yeah, so that's very interesting. I told you there's a lot of media news that is connected to politics today. I just have a few more. Let's see. Yeah, it's interesting how much of this is so here's something that I think is really cool. Now, you all know that, or you may not know, but if not, I lived in DC for 9 years, and I really love DC because that's really where I became an adult. So I was there for like a lot of my adult life, beginning becoming an adult, I should say, and I really enjoyed it. There was lots of good times there. One thing I never really got into while I was there was go-go music. Now, if you don't know about go-go music, it is like a mix of R&B and funk and disco and Africanisms and all of that. So go-go is really a big thing. I did not appreciate go-go for what go-go was when I was there because I am from New York State. So as a New Yorker, I was very if we're talking about urban forms of music, I was very aligned with hip hop. Okay, that's what I was used to. I loved all kinds of music, but very aligned with hip hop. So I come and I'm like, what is this? It just, and they went crazy for it in DC. Crazy for it, but I didn't appreciate it. But I have an appreciation for go-go now. I really do. In fact, to the point that I want to do a documentary on go-go. So this documentary would probably involve me talking to this one individual. Hold on, I'm trying to find his name. Why did it disappear? Hold on, sorry. The story disappeared on me and I can't find it. Where are you? Here we are. Okay. So there is a new museum that has cropped up in DC that is paying homage to go-go music. And it is really, honestly, the music of the capital, like Native Washingtonians. This is your music. So where did all of this? Go-go has always been a big thing, but the Huffington Post actually did some great interviews with the founder and about the cafe and go-go museum. So in 2019, I don't know if you remember this story, but because I'm on a few Howard threads, I saw this. In the Shaw neighborhood is where Howard University is. And what happened was, what's happening, GC has really been getting gentrified. So there was a large amount, just like any others, many cities, but DC had a horrible gentrification problem. I remember very well, I left DC in 2005 and I started to see it creeping up where things that weren't as expensive were getting very expensive. And then when I went back to visit, I was like, I'm sorry, a trolley on the south side of the Capitol? What is this? So it started to get really gentrified. And in 2019, a tenant in a luxury building in Shaw neighborhood, which is Howard University's neighborhood, made a complaint of the noise that was coming from a Metro PCS store nearby. That's what they do. They play go-go. It's part of the neighborhood. But you decided you didn't want to be part of the neighborhood. You want to come and change it to be what you wanted. So what they said, they thought, oh, okay. Well, we're going to have a block party where we play go as loud as we can. And I was like, that's exactly what you do. If you're not coming to add to the fabric of the neighborhood, get out then. You're not coming to help. You just want to take over. So that T-Mobile it was a T-Mobile store. It was Metro PCS, but T-Mobile. They have actually acquiesced, and the owner of that store was allowed to continue to play music, go-go, and more outside. So that's when the hashtag Don't Mute DC and an online petition came about on online. So now fast forward to this year, there was a ribbon cutting of the highly anticipated Go-Go Museum and Cafe in Southeast. It's in the DC's historic Anacostia neighborhood. That happened on Monday. And it's really interesting. So here's what Dr. Natalie Hopkinson, who's the museum's chief curator and author of Go-Go Live, The Music, Life, and Death of a Chocolate City, says this: Black people throughout history and across time and space have used our trauma of the transatlantic slave trade of forced displacement. There are certain things that happen to Black people wherever we are, whether it's in Cuba or Brazil or Jamaica or anywhere. So this is, the rise of go-go music, and any type of music created by Black people is just a party to this. So I am really excited about this. I really want to speak to the founders, and because I actually want to, if you're listening, I want to get you on Mediascope so we could do a proper interview about the cafe and go-go music and its history and that type of thing. But yeah, for those of you who are into go-go music, there is now a go-go music museum and cafe in the Anacostia neighborhood of Washington, D.C. So, yeah, that's really great. So last thing. Did you watch the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight?
I heard about it. I was tempted to tune in, and I said, nah, I'm not going to do it.
Okay. I wanted to know because I watched it. First of all, I'm not a boxing fan. I'm not a boxing person, but I figured, well, this is a media event. I do want to see how it goes, and it's interesting. It was an interesting fight. I was like, that's it, but not that I'm one to judge because I'm not a boxer or a boxing fan, so I don't really know how it goes. So there were two fights before the big one. Two male boxers, two female boxers. There were two matches, and then it was the main thing. So I think the main event started somewhere around 11 p.m. That was mistake. Well, they were in Vegas, I think, so it was early. So it was still 8 o'clock for them. But 8 o'clock is probably closely approaching Mike Tyson's bedtime. The man is tired. So not that
I thought it, but you said it. Okay.
Listen. Oh, there were three fights before the main event. So I missed the first one then, I guess. So I caught the second. I must have caught the second and third. Oh, I didn't realize. Hey, how are you, Fred, by the way? So I saw the first two, and I'm like, again, I'm not a boxing fan. So you did not see it. So if you saw it, please feel free to weigh in. I thought the whole thing was interesting. First of all, this was less about boxing and more about exhibition and money-making opportunities. This, if you ask me, could have been anything. It had almost nothing to do with boxing. It was about how can we leverage this opportunity to make money for both of us. So first of all, you have the spectacle of the fact that these two boxers are at least 30-something years apart, right? Mm-hmm. They're at least 30-something because he's 27, he's 58. So they are like 31 years apart, right? That alone is a reason that people would want to see what's going to happen. What's going to happen next? So, of course, there's that thing. But also now people know Jake Paul if you are young and a YouTuber because he is a content creator and a YouTuber. That's how he was best known.
Right.
So then there was a fight that he did with another Nigerian boxer who was also a content creator. I can't remember that boxer's name. So that was when you started to see more talk of him being a boxer. So, but he's still a content creator. He and his brother Logan Paul, big time YouTubers, and they made the Forbes list of content creators, top paid content creators. So you got that. Then on top of, you've got the fact that There's Mike Tyson, who has a dedicated base of people who know him from like back in the day, people who
Mhm.
know him because they may be New Yorkers, that type of thing. So each individual boxer has their own individual audiences that they're bringing. If this is not the best cross audience thing, because now people who are younger that may be Jake Paul fans that did not know about a Mike Tyson know Mike Tyson. People that are Tyson fans who are like, who is a Jake Paul, now know who Jake Paul is. So now you have increased your audience times two, if not more. Brilliant marketing at best, right?
It
At its
was.
best.
And it's also showing that Netflix is getting into the boxing game. They're stepping into that space where Showtime left a gap. Remember Showtime boxing?
Yes, 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 yes.
That you don't do Showtime boxing anymore. So there's a gap. And I think Prime might be stepping into that space and Netflix. So now you can watch fights on those two platforms.
Exactly. And so that's now also taking the place of what pay-per-view was, right? So pay-per-view was something that was big in cable. That, yeah, you could decide, let's let a network take it, but no, we can make more money if we offer it as a pay-per-view thing. Well, the days of that are gone, basically, right? Who's paying
Mhm.
on? First of all, how many people still really deal with cable like that? Not a whole lot. And how many people are paying for? Yeah, they're not going to do it. The times have changed, so that has shifted. So let's see. Okay, 3 fights before the main event. The influencer match, second and third fights were legit. Okay, okay, that's why I didn't see that first match. I saw the
So
second
they
and third.
some of the other fights, like Fred is saying, they were actually boxers boxing.
Mm-hmm,
The
mm-hmm.
one between Paul and Tyson, that was exhibition. That was all. That's just to get you in the seats.
Like he said, WWE at its finest. Absolutely, absolutely. And here's the thing. So let's away from this and the marketing opportunities because there's so much else. But again, this boxing has almost very little to do with this. It's about the affiliated, associated products with this as well. This is such a bigger ecosystem than just boxing. So now let's
Mhm.
look at Netflix and let's look at, and I'm actually, as soon as I get a chance, I've been trying to do this all week. I recorded a Be More where I talked about this with Shawana Kennedy, and I need to edit it and put it up. But the big thing is Netflix here, right? It was on Netflix. So back in the day, something like this probably would have been on a pay per view, but it wasn't. It was on Netflix. Now, this is the
Mhm.
first time Netflix has ever done a fight live, right? I don't even know that they really do fights. I don't think they do. I think this is the first. I could be wrong. So
This is
somebody
their
can tell me.
first one.
This
This
is
is
their
their
first
first.
fight, right? But they
Yeah.
have done a live event before. If you remember, they have the show Love is Blind with Nick Lachey and the wife. I don't remember her
Yeah.
name. So, but they did the for one of the seasons, they did the final wrap up live. And so that is a live event, but that nowhere near garners the amount of people that watched live. So they had some technical issues, serious technical issues. I thought it was just me at first, and I was like, well, let me go out and come back in. But there was a lot of buffering, and they had technical issues because they could not handle the traffic. So, in my Be More I'm asking, are you prepared for the amount of traffic that is going to come your way when opportunities come your way?
Because what else were people going to do? Oh, Tyson. Wow, we were getting, and people wanted to see him back in action or whatever. And so everybody's going. And I bet you a lot of people signed up for Netflix that weekend.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So they signed up for Netflix. And the hope is when you come for those events that you'll want to stay and take a look around at the other things in the mall, right? They'll put some other thing, just like when you go to the grocery store, they have all of, or if forget the grocery store, if you go to some place like an Ulta or a Sephora, and you have all the grocery store too, but even what's the name of it? Target. They have all these things by the register because they're hoping you'll buy these other things. So you went for the main event of toilet paper or whatever you went to get, but we hope you'll stay and take part in some of these other things we have by the register. And that's what Netflix is hoping. But I'm like, now we know stuff happens, but for something like this, you can't have a stuff happens. The fact that there were interruptions like this, and to be honest, I don't know why they selected the correspondents. They're not correspondents because it's boxing, but the commentators. That's it. I don't know
No,
why they selected the commentators they did. Like they had Cedric the Entertainer, um, Rosie Perez. They had I was confused as to their choice of commentators. Tell me, do they have something to do with boxing? Because I'm not a boxing
no,
person,
they
I don't
don't.
know. Okay.
No, they needed to have some legit boxing commentators to give it more,
Some more
some
credibility.
more credibility. Um, okay, so Fred has a string of comments. He says, Netflix has lost all my respect in boxing because of this. He said the women's match was really good, though, was
It,
great.
it was. If you're a boxing person, it was good.
And then boxing is still big. It's just the network shifted to UFC and everything else. ABC should bring boxing back on Saturdays with the wide world of sports. And then on the tech issues, we're on televisions, but not on mobile devices.
Okay, now catch 22. It's a good thing because if you're a young person and be watched because of Logan Paul, you may be watching on a mobile device, so you may not have had any interruptions. However, for the most part, I would guess, and I don't know for sure, but I would guess most people who are boxing fans are used to watching boxing on the big screen, not a mobile
Not
device.
on the, yeah.
Secondly, younger people are by numbers not as big. Boxing is a sport that tends to skew older in terms of people who like it. Sports in general, okay, tends to skew a little bit older, but we look at boxing, that tends to skew a tiny bit older. So those people probably were not watching on devices, which is why it was such a big deal. Because if most people were watching on devices and it was just a few handful watching on television, it would not have been as big of a deal, but it's a big deal because most people probably are old school boxing fans and they watch things on television.
Mm-hmm.
So also let's look at this. If there were bars that were sports bars that had the fight going on, that's a problem there too, because right, they're showing different things at sports bars, but I'm sure they were showing this as well. And then you've got buffering and interruptions at sports bars. So this is a huge deal. That's something that Netflix will have to figure out if they get a chance to do something like this again. See, that's the other thing. You only get one chance when it's something this big. And even then, it's still, people were complaining, but I think for the most part, some people kind of like, or whatever. But when it comes to this again, will people approach Netflix to try and do something big like this again?
Fred said he watched on iPad, so there was no problem. And one day, Netflix will have to have an over-the-air partner because these fights, like I said, Showtime used to do this, and then and so that's where you had the pay-per-view. You did it on Showtime. There are other platforms there's one called The Zone, where you can watch boxing, but that's mostly European. Boxing from the UK and over there. And it's a streaming service, but there is still pay-per-view for it. There was somebody else that did pay-per-view, ESPN Plus did pay-per-view. So
yeah. And you're right, Fred. I think any tech publicity is good publicity. I don't think this that may be a question on the table, but I don't think this X's them out of doing big things like this in the future. But, that's always a question. Is this going to prevent them from doing it? I don't
Well,
personally think so.
because where are you going to watch it?
It,
If the Showtime is gone,
well,
ESPN
okay.
is not doing it. ESPN is ABC, by the way. So where are you going to watch it?
Well, you may have an entity like Hulu that would try and pull it away from them. You may
Well,
have
that's
some.
what I'm saying, because ABC owns Hulu as well.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So that's all Disney. It's all Disney. So
Yep.
you may have Disney pull into some of their properties and try and do this. So you
Right.
never know which other streamer would try and bid or vie to do this. But best be for sure, they're not going to do this again. They're going to make sure they are ready for the next time. And this is what I suspect, that they're going to do a number of these types of events to show, see, yes, we can do this. We can do it without interruption.
Mm-hmm.
And again, for people who watched on tablets or on their phones, they were probably fine. And here's the thing, Netflix is new school media, and they may have underestimated the amount of people that would watch via television and their need to make sure that it worked well. I don't
Right.
know. We'll see. But that's what I have for you today. We are done.
All right. Well, Dr. Tachi, thank you so very much for being here. And TJ, who had to take off, Terry, who was off handling some other things today. We just want to say thank you to everyone who's watching us live today and those who are watching this on replay. We trust that you get something from this, all the things happening with Blue Sky, Threads, and Instagram. Oh my. So there are things happening, but you can always come back here on a Friday to learn more about tech history, and tech making history. Learn about media, things that can happen, that's happening in that realm. And we just want to say thank you for tuning in today. Fred says this all could have been a test for Netflix to determine the viewer base real time.
Could have been.
Right.
I wouldn't have played with it like that, but I would
Okay.
have picked something else, but that's all right.
So for that, we want to say thank you so much for tuning in live on the replay. Remember, we're always here to help you take the hassle out of your hustle so that you can build a profitable business that's fun to run. We will be back here next week. You can become a part of the Biz Chicks community. Just text Biz to 33777 or go to bizchicks.net. However you do it, we'll see you next week. Have a very good Thanksgiving. Just to let you know, we'll probably be doing a lot of encores this week because it's Thanksgiving and you need to spend time with your family, and so do we. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Any final words, Dr. Tachi?
No, this was fun as usual, and thanks everybody for coming in. We appreciate you being here every week.
We do. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.